right, here we go. Welcome into the show, everybody. Hope you're having a fantastic Wednesday. It is June 25th of 2025, and the NBA draft is almost here. You're watching Philadelphia 76ers now. Chase Sr. and Jake Chipper here with you. The Sixers on the clock with the third overall pick. Will they be able to add a young cornerstone piece to their roster? VJ Edgecombe, Ace Bailey. Will they trade back for a player like Kon Knueppel? It is going to be a fascinating night. Shams Charania, ESPN NBA insider, literally just saying moments ago live on ESPN that the Sixers are expected to stay with number 3 overall. That's what you call a stick and pick. But I expect tonight to get a little bit crazy. Let us know down in the comments section. We'll start to give you some shout-outs here. We're emanating live from Studio I in the Chat Sports Studios, and we'll be live for the next several hours. As you can see below us, the countdown to round 1 is right below us. Just under an hour to go. And Chip, we've been waiting for this moment for a little while. I joked with you last week that even though the balls in the lottery bounce the Sixers' way and they have an opportunity to get a really good player to pair up with Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain, we'll see about Paul George and Joel Embiid, it's still been a dysfunctional process because that's how it goes with the Sixers.
Yeah, it couldn't go any other way, right? It's just so funny because when they get that third pick for a few weeks, we're thinking it's going to be Ace Bailey. They're going to get their guy, perfect fit, all that. And then, of course, all this stuff with Ace, trying to go to a certain situation, canceling workouts, and just really one of the more confusing pre-draft processes I've seen in a while. It can't be normal for the Sixers, but it all really comes to fruition tonight. We'll see what they end up doing. Obviously, as Chase mentioned, Shams said they're planning to stick and pick right now, but look, until they make a pick and that selection is in and we know who they're drafting, I really think anything can happen. So we will see, but I'm excited. Been a while since the Sixers have had a pick this high. Obviously, that's a good thing, but here they are now after the disaster of a season, so we'll see if they can take advantage.
So we told you to let us know where you're watching from. Go Birds 21 is tuned in from Philly. Sean Tan is watching from Singapore. How cool is that? Jeff Chipper, South Florida. Herman is in Texas. Pennsylvania from Milton Stewart. Go Birds 21. VJ Edgecombe, you are a Sixer. Steve the Legend chiming in saying, I think they should pick Thomas Sorber. He is a local kid, and he's a great player. Rizan tuned in from Auckland, New Zealand. Germany from the Doggo Walker. Amran Taki, hopefully I pronounced that right. If not, I apologize. Watching from Houston. Huntington Valley, Pennsylvania from Steve. And the southern tier of New York from CJ. Continue to get the comment section going. Let us know where you're watching from. Benjamin Asor saying Israel. If that is the case, then you're not lying. Hopefully you're staying safe in that part of the world. So you look at the NBA draft order here. Here are the upcoming picks. It's crazy how the Dallas Mavericks trade away Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers, and then they end up getting the number 1 overall pick, and now they can select Cooper Flagg, who a lot of people look at as a generational talent. It had rigged written all over it, but Nico Harrison with an opportunity tonight to right his wrongs. You trade away Luka, you draft Cooper Flagg, and that team becomes very interesting with Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis, but there's been some buzz in the lead up to the draft that Jason Kidd might want to coach the New York Knicks. We'll certainly see what happens on that front. The San Antonio Spurs climb the draft lottery. A lot of surprises with how the lottery balls were falling. They get the number 2 pick. Dylan Harper expected to be the selection there. We know that that's really set in stone. Cooper Flagg number 1, Dylan Harper number 2. Chip, after that, I think this draft could get really wonky. And after that, it's the ultimate unknown.
Yeah, look, the draft really starts with the Sixers at number 3. What do they end up doing? Who do they end up taking? And it really all centers around Ace Bailey, because if the Sixers don't take Ace Bailey and they do go with somebody like VJ Edgecombe, there's talks Ace Bailey could fall all the way to number 6, the Wizards, and of course that really messes things up. So what do the Sixers do at 3? That could impact what the Charlotte Hornets do at 4. They've been interested in a whole different types of prospects. And there's been a lot of talk as well that they're in some trade discussions, as are the Utah Jazz at number 5. Where do they go? I mentioned the Wizards, Ace Bailey connection. We got a report about an hour ago now that I saw. Ace Bailey did actually work out for the Wizards.
Okay.
So out of all teams, worked out with one, and it's Washington. So it seems like he wants to go to the Wizards, somewhere where he can get a bunch of shots up and get that big second contract. So again, we'll see how this all shakes up. But that's why with the Sixers at number 3, what do they end up doing? Do they hold the pick? Do they trade it? Because teams like the Pelicans and the Nets, who are behind Washington at 7 and 8, also interested in Ace Bailey. So do they maybe try to make an aggressive move to trade up? We saw the Nets. They got, 5 first-round picks now after that Kristaps Porzingis trade. So they could get aggressive. Pelicans could. We talked a bunch in the show about a Herb Jones trade possibly.
Ace might want to play
Philly
there as well.
Yeah, so look, it's gonna be crazy, I think, as we get closer and closer to the start of this draft.
Yeah, what you said about the Wizards, that adds up. Keith Pompey, Philadelphia Inquirer, reporting last night in length that the Wizards are infatuated with Ace Bailey. They really want him to fall to number 6, and if he falls to number 6, I think he's going to be the selection. In this player empowerment era, we've seen a lot more players obviously have more power, be more outspoken, and that can either help an athlete, it can hurt an athlete. I don't really like some of the noise around Ace Bailey with his camp. I don't think he's being guided by the best people. For instance, why would you not want to go to the 76ers, a historic brand, major media market, market number 4? I know there are questions around Paul George and Joel Embiid, but you can play alongside Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain, 2 blossoming young stars in the league. You fit that roster really well. I know that the Sixers at times have been very dysfunctional, but you get the media attention. The fan base would be elated to have you. You would fit the roster. I know Ace Bailey wants to go somewhere where he can probably take 20-plus shots a night as a rookie, but you also want to go somewhere that has some type of stability. The Wizards don't have that. You go to New Orleans, nobody's going to care about what you're doing. So the approach from Ace Bailey and his camp has been very odd in the pre-draft process, and that adds a lot of intrigue going into night 1. So Chip mentioning the Pelicans, the Nets. You look at picks 9 through 12, Raptors, Suns, Blazers, Bulls. Bulls are another team that could look to make a move tonight. There's been some Bradley Beal chatter. Could they make a trade with the Phoenix Suns? You have the Hawks at number 13. Zachary Reese-Shea, I thought, was a reach with the number 1 pick last year, but he ended up having a really good rookie campaign. The same thing that's happened with Ace Bailey, we kind of saw that last year with the player like Alex Sarr. Now that comes to mind, he went to Washington. He ended up having a really solid rookie campaign. You have the Spurs again there at number 14. They have some draft flexibility and some roster flexibility. Thunder at 15. Sam Presti, according to reports earlier this week, they just won the title. They could look to matriculate up the draft board. You have the Memphis Grizzlies at 16. Interesting spot that organization is in right now. Timberwolves at number 17. Wizards again at 18. Nets again at 19 via New Orleans. Heat at number 20. That's another team being mentioned as a squad that could look to make a move here tonight. Andrew Wiggins being mentioned as a trade candidate. You have the Utah Jazz at 21. Brooklyn Nets at 22. Pelicans again at 23. Thunder again at number 24. Magic at 25. That's a team that becomes very interesting. They just made that trade with Memphis for Desmond Bane. I really like the fit of Bane going there. I thought they gave up a little bit too much, but they're trying to take advantage of a wide-open Eastern Conference. You have the Nets back-to-back at 26-27. The Celtics, what's going on with Boston? Jason Tatum probably not going to be there next year because of the torn Achilles. They trade Kristaps Porzingis. They trade Drew Holiday. They got under that second apron. That's a big celebration for them. And then rounding out the first round, Nets, Celtics, Suns, Clippers. Just as I'm running through there, Chip, I know that you were kind of trying to hop in there. Any thoughts that kind of come to your mind there looking at the draft order and the overall storylines across the NBA?
Yeah, I think the biggest storyline tonight is just how many trades there could potentially be. It's been talked about for a few weeks now that, look, teams, when you get down, really like 4 to 8, 4 to 10 is where you could see a lot of movement. But you mentioned even like The Thunder at 15 are looking to move up. We see the Nets having all of these draft picks. Could they be looking to move up? There's talks about the Suns looking to move up from 29 to get closer to have a second pick near that number 10 selection they already have. There's talks about the Hawks trying to get in there. The Kings are a team that don't have a first-round pick that have been rumored to have said, we are going to have a first-round pick by the end of the night, definitively. Yeah. So, look, there's going to be a lot of movement on the board, even if it doesn't start with the Sixers. After Philly, really starting with number 4, we could see a whole lot of moves, teams maneuvering around the board. So, the draft order we see right now going to be far from, I think, what the actual result of the draft is. Because, in my opinion, once you get to that 14 out of lottery range, a lot of those guys, prospects 15 and on, can really go in any direction. A lot of different guys who have different upsides, different skill sets. I like the draft in that range. So we could see a lot of shaking up here tonight.
Yeah, a lot of movement potentially in play tonight for round 1 of the NBA draft. Round 2 is tomorrow night. The NBA has decided to split the draft the last couple of years, and so we'll be live running it back once again tomorrow night right here on Philadelphia 76ers Now. We have 155 people watching during our pre-draft show. Thanks for being here. You're watching 76ers Now. I'm Chase Sr. Jake Chipper's the real star. I've been so wrapped up with NFL content. He's pretty much running this channel at this point, but I'm helping him out here tonight. We appreciate all of you for hanging out here with us. I want to get the good vibes going. I also want to get some more people in here. So now we're up to 161 people watching live. Can we get the stream to 100 likes? We get the stream to 100 likes, I guarantee you we're going to have a spike in audience. And here's the deal. If you want the Sixers to crush the draft tonight, to get a player who you absolutely love, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. That's a big way that you can support the show, is simply by hitting that thumbs up icon. Also, if you want to send in a super chat, our COO is down to take down a beer. I also saw Joey Peterson, who's a great host and friend here at Chat Sports, great coworker as well. He's down to have some drinks. So if you send in a $50 super chat, we're going to get some people in here. We're going to party a little bit. We always want to be insightful. We want to be informative, but we always like to entertain and make this a fun environment for Sixers fans to be a part of. So hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. That helps out the show. If you want to send in a super chat, it's pretty much like a tip. Tipping the bartender, tipping the host, then you can do that as well.
I want to see my boss drink, man.
Yeah.
$50 to make our boss drink. I want to see it. And I'll join with him if we do get that.
Let's go. Shout out to the recent commenter club, Go Birds 21. He said it himself. It's free to like. It's easy too. Oliver Garrett. Kansas City Chiefs are going to win against the Eagles next year in the Super Bowl. Boo. Get out of here with that. All I know is what happened in Super Bowl 59. That was a dominant Birds victory. CJ saying hundo as if he wants us to get to 100 likes. I agree. Peter Thurman is in the building. Good to see you. And then Giuseppe Ferrara, I see you in the comment section as well. As for the best players available, a lot of you are draft experts, draft connoisseurs. You know these prospects very well. Some of you might just be tuned in trying to maximize your night with tuning into the NBA draft. Maybe you're more of a casual fan. Some of you might not be familiar at all with some of these draft prospects. Well, you know what? We got you covered. Our draft expert here at Chat Sports, it used to be me. It is no longer. Too busy covering the NFL. But Nick Roloff, he watches so much college basketball, watches so much NBA. He is our draft expert. So let's take a look at Rolly's best players available. Top overall player, Cooper Flagg. Of note, Rolly is not a big Ace Bailey guy. And so you see Ace Bailey is not on this page or the next page. You have Dylan Harper at number 2, VJ Edgecombe at number 3, Tre Johnson at number 4. Chip, so many people know about Cooper Flagg. We did get a good question earlier, though, from Joey Peterson. What is the one big if with Cooper Flagg's game, in your opinion? What's one thing he needs to improve on?
Yeah, so the thing with Flagg, you're kind of nitpicking him a little bit because for him, it's what can take him from being really good to elite, right?
Yeah.
What can take him from being an all-star level player, which he should be pretty quickly, to reaching his honestly Hall of Fame level ceiling. And to me, it's just showing that he does have that elite shot making ability, right? We know the defense is going to be there. That's his calling card. As good as he's on offense, he is an unbelievable defender. It's drawn comparisons to Kawhi Leonard as a defender, right? But to me, if he's able to keep improving on his outside shot, his pull-up game, that's where you could really see with his size, with his handle, his ability to get to the basket and attack the rim. If he puts it all together, again, with that ISO game pull-up from deep, I don't know how you stop him. That would make him pretty much an unstoppable player on the offensive end of the floor, especially coming into college before he played his first game at Duke. That's where his biggest questions were, right? Can he shoot the three ball in particular?
Yep.
He shot it very well at Duke. So can he do that in the NBA? And does he have what it takes to be a true number one scoring option? If he does, again, I think he goes from a already perennial all-star level player to a perennial all-NBA, eventual Hall of Fame level guy. Again, kind of nitpicking with someone like Cooper Flagg, but look, if you want to be great, that's what he's going to have to do.
And you think there's no scenario possible that Dylan Harper falls to 3?
No, everything we've been hearing really the past couple of weeks, I know earlier in the offseason we talked about the Spurs. Could they trade away that number 2 pick with Dylan Harper? Is he a fit? They already have De'Aaron Fox and Stephon Castle at the guard spots, but look in the draft, and this goes to the Sixers strategy too, at sometimes you just got to take the best player available. And Dylan Harper is far and away better than everybody else below him on the board.
Yeah.
And everything we've been hearing from all reports over the past couple of weeks is, the Sixers have tried to call up an offer. Apparently they've offered 2 future first-round picks in addition to number 3, and the Spurs still said, nah, we're good. So they're going to take him. Everything we've heard is they are dead set on taking Dylan Harper. So to me, it's pretty much locked in. Cooper Flagg, number 1. Dylan Harper, number 2, leaves the Sixers at number 3.
Yeah, and with the Sixers being at 3, a lot of chatter, a lot of speculation. It could be VJ Edgecombe to Philadelphia because Ace Bailey, he canceled his workout with Philadelphia. He's gone about this draft process in a way where he's rubbed some teams the wrong way, given some of the people who are around him, and in my opinion, giving him bad advice. If the Sixers go VJ Edgecombe at number 3, what's going to be your reaction to that?
So I've always been an Ace Bailey guy, right?
You and me both.
From the moment they got that 3rd pick, I wanted Ace Bailey. Now, I was never, against VJ Edgecombe. I never hated him as a player. I never was like, man, if they picked him, it would be a disaster. And as we get closer and closer to the time the Sixers are on the clock, I'm accepting more and more that's probably going to be the pick. And look, I do like him as a player, and I would understand why they would go this route. Day one, he can make an impact on this team with his defensive ability. He's a tenacious defender, and he is uber athletic, right? So you can use those tools right away. Sixers, in all fairness, could use some better perimeter defenders and guard defenders on this roster. Now, the things with VJ, it's really the offensive game. He's not a great finisher, even though he's super athletic and can get to the rim. If he's not dunking the ball, he does struggle to finish at times. And the big thing for me is the jump shot.
Yep.
He's good when he's unguarded, catch and shoot threes. He knocks them down. But outside of that, he just hasn't shown a lot of creation offensively and self-creation. So if that never comes along, all of a sudden, you're looking at a player who's limited offensively, can be a good defender, but
he's
is that
a little
what you
bit
want
better
at
than
number
Matisse
3?
Thybulle.
Yeah, he's basically a more athletic Matisse Thybulle, right?
Yeah.
Who obviously has
Solid
never been
player,
able
but,
to
yeah.
put together a great NBA career. So I'd be fine with the pick. He's be my number 2 option at number 3. But I mean, even with everything going on, I'd still go Ace. Just that upside swing, man. It's just hard to bet against some of the tools Ace has and how good he could be if he puts it all together.
And that's where I'm at. The Sixers have an opportunity to get a player who some people compare to Kevin Durant. Some people have said that Ace Bailey can be better than Cooper Flagg, that he has more upside. I get that Ace Bailey is boom or bust, but I'm willing to take my chances with the boom. For VJ Edgecombe, yeah, he's a great athlete. But almost every single player at the NBA level is a great athlete. Some people have said, oh, he can dunk like Vince Carter. That's great when you're in transition. The consistency of your ability to just throw down poster dunks when you're in the half court is extremely low. You look at teams like the Oklahoma City Thunder, Indiana Pacers, right? a big reason why both of those teams played in the NBA Finals in a series that went to 7, multiple guys on those teams who can create and or shoot the rock. VJ Edgecombe can't shoot the rock. His shot is broken, and we're expecting that to just come along. I know Jay Billis said, reminds me a little bit of a young Dwayne Wade, and Dwayne Wade never really shot the 3 all that much. D. Wade became a better player for Marquette at the NBA level than he was in college, and he was a great player for Marquette, especially with that deep tournament run. But I don't think VJ Edgecombe is that. I think that Ace Bailey has star potential. I don't think that even in the best world that VJ Edgecombe has star potential. Unfortunately, you made a really good point, Chip, earlier when we were talking about this in the office. Daryl Morey, Nick Nurse, they're feeling a lot of pressure. And they feel as though they need to perform well as a team in the 2025-2026 season, given how disastrous of a year they had last year. And if they don't, they could get fired. So in turn, they could go with the safest player who helps them right now, who gets them to the playoffs quicker in improving their team, and that's Edgecombe. That might not be Ace Bailey. So pick one to draft. I'm looking at the poll question in the chat right now.
Wow.
Who do you want the Sixers to draft tonight? It's close. 44% Ace Bailey, 42% VJ Edgecombe, Kon Knueppel at 9%, Tre Johnson at 5%. That's coming on 209 votes. So continue to get your votes in. There's also this too. Kevin O'Connor, formerly of The Ringer, now with Yahoo, always has a fantastic draft guide with good analysis and scouting profiles on these players, player comps. He has Kon Knueppel as his 3rd overall player on his big board. So it goes Flagg, Harper, Knueppel, Tre Johnson, VJ Edgecombe, then Ace Bailey. So people are really split on Ace Bailey, and it's understandable to see why. And I'm looking at the comment section. Chip, it's like the poll. A lot of people are going back and forth. Milton Stewart, Ace Bailey, Sean Tan, VJ, Schemer, Ace Bailey, Go Birds, VJ, R. Wilson, type in that AB. Others type in VJ. So it is really back and forth here. Brian Doherty. Yo, what's up, Chip and Chase? It's your cousin B-Doc. What is up, my brother? Good to hear from you. As you can see below us, little north of 31 minutes until round 1 gets underway. We also have a trade to discuss. Not a monumental trade by any means, but the Pacers are receiving the 38th overall pick in this year's draft. The Spurs will get a 2030 second-round pick and cash consideration. So the Pacers most likely going to be without Tyrese Halliburton for most of next year, if not all of that. Another player who tore his Achilles. They need to add some players, add some depth. It's going to be interesting to see how they fare as the defending Eastern Conference champions. But they move up in that second round, and they get the 38th overall pick. Continue to look at the comment section here. A lot of people continue to go back and forth. VJ Edgecombe, Ace Bailey. That only makes tonight a lot more intriguing and interesting.
So split. And it's such a tough decision, man.
Yeah.
That's why, like, what will Daryl Morey ultimately decide to do? Because we know Daryl Morey is not afraid to go against the grain and do what he thinks is right and pick the guy that he wants on the team, regardless of all this outside noise. So that's why people were asking me in the office today, what's the percentage chance that you think it's VJ? They were like, is it 90, 95? I was like, I don't think it's quite that high. I was settling around 70, 75% that it is VJ Edgecombe. I think that's going to be the route. I predicted in this morning's final mock draft that they will take VJ. But look, I mentioned this too in that video. I could see a world where Daryl Morey looks at Ace Bailey, says that he is the guy who they believe is the best player available at number 3, and he doesn't make it any more complicated than that. He's the best player available. We don't care about all this other stuff. We'll bring him in, and once we bring him into this building, he'll just go and play basketball. You know what? If you bring him in and he's causing all these problems and says he doesn't want to play for you, then look, you just figure it out from there, right? But at this point, I really think 75% VJ Edgecombe, 25% Ace Bailey or trade, although we keep getting more and more reporting that it does seem like they will be sticking at number 3.
Yep. All right, we have about 250 people watching live. Our audience continues to pick up steam and momentum. We're at 68 likes right now. One away from 69, which is great. But let's get the stream to 100 likes. Hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. If you're ready for the NBA draft to start, smash that thumbs up icon. The more likes that we get, more people who find the stream, and the more fun that we will have here for night one of the NBA draft. I can't believe Marty Smith is doing some reporting for the NBA draft tonight on ESPN.
I think this is the Cooper Flagg watch party there.
It is. Yeah. It is. And what a story for Cooper Flagg, coming from Maine. Maine, as a state in America, not known at all for being a basketball powerhouse, but Cooper Flagg, he's about to give that state some basketball recognition tonight. Born and grew up in Newport, Maine, and he's going to go number 1 overall to the Dallas Mavericks. All right, here's our Super Chat menu. If you want to donate to the show, we certainly appreciate that. We're going to give you great analysis, but we're also looking to have some fun here on the program tonight. All Super Chats will get a shout-out. If you send in a $5 Super Chat, we'll give you a beer cheers. $10, we'll talk about any team, any player who you want us to talk about. $20, it's shot time. $50 for a beer bong or a shotgun. That right there is our Super Chat menu as we're under 30 minutes to go until the Dallas Mavericks are on the clock to kick off the 2025 NBA draft. Expecting Cooper Flagg to go number 1, Dylan Harper at number 2, but then the draft, in my opinion, really starts with Philadelphia at number 3. At that point, you really just don't know, Chip, what's going to happen.
Yeah, very exciting. Very excited to see what happens tonight. We've been talking about it for weeks, and we finally get to figure it out here tonight. Speaking of exciting, Chase, we've had already a few pretty big trades go down in the NBA really over the past week. A couple surprising ones, a couple that we kind of figured were going to happen. So we can react to these, and in the chat, you can react, give us some of your thoughts on some of these big trades that happen as well. And none bigger, of course, than the Kevin Durant trade, man. Going to be playing next season and beyond, you would assume, with the Houston Rockets traded to Houston from Phoenix for Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, the 10th overall pick tonight, and 5 second-round picks. Quick tangent, though. The fact that this trade's happened, I know it's not official yet, but the fact that whoever is drafted by the Suns tonight at number 10 has to go up on stage and put on a Houston Rockets hat, it's criminal.
It's
ridiculous. Let him rock the Suns hat. The trade's already happened, man.
And it gives that player just a weird vibe and experience, right? He knows he's not going to one team, but he's having to wear a hat for another team. Makes no sense at all. As far as this trade, I think it's a really fascinating one. The Suns trade for Kevin Durant really blew up in their faces. There's a reason why that organization has been so bad for so long outside of that NBA Finals run a few years ago when they finally put it together with Chris Paul and Devin Booker. But this trade here, I think it makes the Rockets a really interesting team. I think that Jalen Green is a very good player. Is he a superstar? I don't think so. Does he have superstar potential? I'm not even sure about that. He, in the pre-draft process a few years ago, and I was the main NBA draft analyst here, reminded me a lot of Bradley Beal. I think you see that in his offensive game. He goes to Phoenix, and we'll see if he ends up staying on Phoenix. Him and Dylan Brooks, not a bad package to get back if you're Phoenix. But for the Rockets, that's really the main topic here. They become a bona fide championship contender. You have an elite head coach in Ime Udoka. You locked him up. Today, you gave Fred VanVleet a contract extension. You have a really good supporting cast as well. And if you look at Kevin Durant's numbers last year, he was extremely efficient, averaging nearly 27 points per game. He's going to miss some time because at 37 years old, he's been a little bit injury prone. But if he can stay healthy, if you can manage his minutes, Houston Rockets become a really interesting team in the West. And they were the number 2 seed this past year.
Yeah, West is absolutely loaded. It makes a lot of sense for a team that was so young to go make this move. We've heard about it for so long. Kevin Durant possibly going to the Houston Rockets. And look, to only give up Dylan Brooks, who, look, Rockets fans are not going to be upset about losing Dylan Brooks. You have so many other young wings over there in Houston still. And then Jalen Green, who Chase mentioned it, he's a polarizing player. He was pretty bad in the playoffs for them this past season. I think shot like 30% from the field, 20% from three in that series against the Warriors. So still young, yes, and still does have some upside, but has never really been able to put it together as a winning basketball player. So I guess, if you're the Suns, KD wanted to be in Houston if it wasn't going to be San Antonio. So you get a good young player in Jalen Green. I like getting the number 10 pick for them. They still really need to get off Bradley Beal, whether they find someone who's stupid enough to trade for him, or if they end up buying him out, which I don't see how they can do that with him making like $50 million. That would be a historical level of a buyout in the NBA. But look, for Phoenix, you move on from KD. Kevin Durant claims that Suns fans didn't want him there. I don't know how true that necessarily is. I think he really just wanted out of that situation. But yeah, the Rockets, going to be another scary team. The West just continues to be absolutely loaded, while the East looks like a joke heading into next season. Partly why the Sixers, again, could look to be
Windows
aggressive and win now.
And it's crazy, too, because Chip and I think, were talking NBA draft lottery night. And we were talking about how the landscape of the Eastern Conference has changed so much. And at that point, it looked like the window for the Sixers in the East was closed. The rise of the Detroit Pistons, the rise of the Indiana Pacers, the rise of the Orlando Magic, the Boston Celtics being defending NBA champions at the time, the rise of the New York Knicks. I think the Knicks have been exposed a little bit. Boston is kind of rebuilding after that Tatum injury. Pacers won't have Tyrese Halliburton. And all of a sudden, the landscape in the East is wide open. I don't fear the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't fear the Orlando Magic. I think Detroit is a really solid team, but can the Sixers, with their level of talent, depending on what they do tonight, beat them in a 7-game series? So in the matter of 2 months, it's gone from, looks like the window is shut for the Sixers in the East, to it now being straight up wide open, which is why this number 3 pick and what the Sixers do in free agency looms pretty large. I'm also thinking about this now, Chip. I'm not sure if you saw this tweet before we went live. Jeff Teague said the Sixers already have an ace Bailey. It's Justin Edwards.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
He can hoop. He said Justin Edwards can ball, but he was in a bad system at Kentucky, and it really messed him up as a player. Look, Justin Edwards played really well last year as a rookie. I'm excited to see how his development continues. I think that he can be a contributor in a rotation for a playoff team. We comparing him to Ace Bailey, though. I think Ace Bailey still has a lot more potential. Couple of super chats coming in. Lisa Chipper, $20 here. Do those shots. Do you have the liquor ready to go?
Oh, I got it on deck, baby.
Chip can take down a shot. And then we had another $20 super chat come in from Tyler Davidson. He said, shot o'clock, hoping that we somehow end up with Dylan Harper. Go Sixers, go Birds. Go Sixers, go Birds. Be sure to subscribe to Philadelphia Eagles now as well. Chip's going to take down that shot. I was in a wedding and went to a wedding back-to-back weekends. So I've been really trying to hone in on my training. I haven't been drinking that much of late. I will say, though, somebody sends in a $50 super chat. I'll crack a happy dad. I'll do some form of drinking if somebody sends him a $50 super chat. In the meantime, Chip taking down a couple of shots here.
Let's
on
go,
the ones
baby.
and twos. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Tyler. Is your mom down there in South Florida with your pops? Or is your dad there?
No, I think it's just my dad.
Okay.
Yeah, travels for work a good amount.
Okay, gotcha. Jeff Chipper. Hopefully you're enjoying Florida right now. So, Lisa, Tyler, our first 2 super chats of the night. Appreciate that. 10 likes away from 100 here on the stream. Hit that thumbs up icon, like the video as you come in here. The more likes that we get, the more people who continue to discover that what we do here is very special. And, of course, if you ain't subscribed, you ain't alive. Hit that sub button. Chip has been killing it with our Sixers coverage right here on the channel. Also, thanks to our friends at Fanatics. These Sixers draft hats are available. And growing up, draft hats were so hit and miss. I think that they have become better in all sports over time. I happen to really like these. And this is the same hat that the Sixers draftee will be wearing when they cross that stage here tonight. Will it be at number 3? Will it be a little bit later? We'll certainly see. Get your hats today, though. Chatsports.com/76draft hat. You have the white, you have the blue, but you also have the bucket hat. So a couple of different styles right there. You use that link, it'll take you to Fanatics. Fanatics will know that Chat Sports 76ers Now, Chase and Chip sent you. That link is in the chat, and it's in the show notes of our live stream for night one of the NFL draft, or NBA draft. And we continue to get closer and closer to round one getting underway.
Let's go.
Under 20 minutes to go until the Dallas Mavericks are on the clock. It's going to be Cooper Flagg 1, Dylan Harper 2, and then fittingly enough for what we're doing here tonight, the draft starts with the 76ers at number 3. VJ Edgecombe, Ace Bailey. Could the Sixers trade back, gather some picks? We will certainly see. And we ask you this. Will the Sixers trade the 3rd overall pick? Right on cue. That's a good producer right there.
Hey.
Type Y for yes, N for no. We're going to give you some shout-outs here in the chat. Look, we kind of treat the comment section like a sports talk radio call-in line. Obviously, you don't have that here on YouTube, but you can let your voices be heard down in the comments section. For instance, Tyler Davidson saying yes, he thinks the Sixers will trade the 3rd overall pick. Share your opinions with us. I think they stick and pick, Chip.
Yeah, I think they stick and pick as well. Unless a team like the Nets or the Pelicans come out with a massive offer. By all accounts, they've been talking about trading up, but hasn't happened yet. So that tells me haven't thrown a good enough offer at Philadelphia to move down. So unless they up the ante and up their offers a little bit, I would guess they stick and pick. Excuse me. B-Doc, 30 months sober on Sunday. Can I get a shout out? B-Doc.
Hey, good stuff, man.
Shout out to you, man. Awesome stuff. I did see a comment from Japoy, who brought up an interesting name, talking about the 35th overall pick. Of course, the second round will be tomorrow night. But bringing up a couple of different center options the Sixers could draft. One of the names you brought up, Yannick Conan Niederhauser. What a name. So he's a guy that I had the Sixers taking in my final mock draft this morning at 35.
Okay.
And he's generated some buzz with the Sixers because right before the draft, the past couple of days, a lot of these different, ESPN, Yahoo, The Ringer, different mock drafts all had him going to the Sixers at 35, leading to a lot of speculation on Sixers Twitter that maybe they gave him a draft promise. He's a very athletic center. Pretty similar to Adembona, honestly, which is why I think I'd probably look for a different kind of prospect, someone who will run the floor, throw down some lobs, protect the rim. They're kind of the same player, but certainly a lot of athletic, physical tools. No doubt about that.
Yeah, who else do you kind of have on your second-round radar there, Chip?
Yeah, so I've been all in on these centers.
Okay.
I love the idea of going center in the second round, obviously because of Embiid, and I think Andre Drummond's as good as going off this roster. So
how about Adembona?
I like Adembona a lot, but I think you still need one more guy behind Embiid. Again, assuming I think Drummond's gone.
Yeah.
So I would love to have 3 guys you can have. You obviously have Embiid, you have Bona, and then I would go for one more guy that, look, even if he doesn't see the floor a whole lot this year, long term he can be another option that you can cycle in with Adembona. And so a guy like Ryan Kalkbrenner that Japoy also brought up, I think 3 times.
Japoy knows ball.
Yeah, knows ball, man. Bring up some good names. Kalkbrenner's a 3 or 4 time defensive player of the year in his conference in the Big East. He has some questions about how his game fits like in a modern NBA because he doesn't really have that much of a shot right now, and he's not super athletic, but he dominates the interior. And in college, he's been a very good defender, obviously. Now, how does that translate to the NBA? But I like his size. He's very, very skilled. That's why I like him as an option because Kalkbrenner's a lot more polished as an offensive player than someone like a Niederhauser or like Adembona, where they're more, athletes, finishing above the rim, that type of thing. Kalkbrenner can give you a little more traditional center play. And, I mean, if those defensive skills translate, just would be a great option down there defending the rim, which the Sixers were really, really bad at. So I'm really looking at a center at that spot. Of course, we will see who ends up falling. There's always guys that you think are going to go in the back end of the first that really aren't on the radar. Then all of a sudden you're like, oh, wow, they're available. Sixers should take them, especially because Philly has the 35th overall pick. That's, 5 picks in the second round? So they'll have some options for sure. You
talking about that, it just got me thinking about Daryl Morey's resume drafting for the Sixers. And he definitely hit on Tyrese Maxey, obviously. I think he hit on Jared McCain. I really like the future of Adem Bona. They get Justin Edwards as a UDFA. Picking up a player like Gershon Yabusele, a great pickup. Everything that could have gone wrong for the Sixers last year went wrong. But I do believe that the future of this organization is somewhat bright. And that's why I don't want them to trade Maxey. I don't want them to trade Jared McCain. I would love to see that as your backcourt. Now, it's a bummer that they're committed to Paul George the way that they are. I know that Chip and I both wanted that move to happen, but we were thinking that could get them over the top for being an NBA contender. It was idiotic for Daryl Morey to extend Joel Embiid. But to his credit, he's hit on some picks. There are some really good young players on this team. And if they can really crush it with the third overall pick here, the future can be bright for the Sixers team that, again, is a part of a wide-open Eastern Conference. 13 minutes to go until round one begins. First four picks of the draft, we showed you there. Dallas Mavericks at 1. San Antonio Spurs at 2. I think the draft starts with the Sixers at number 3. And so it's going to be interesting, fascinating to see what happens in those first few picks. We showed you 5 through 8 there. You look at 9 through 12. We'll just cycle through these selections here, what to expect in the first round of the draft. 13 through 16, 17 through 20 coming up here. 21 through 24. Obviously 30 teams in the NBA now. 25 through 28. And then the last few selections we'll show you on the screen right here. That is the NBA draft order for those of you who aren't familiar, who are just trying to put teams to the pick numbers. That's what you can expect. What I expect, a lot of movement to happen in this first round. It's a draft class that I think is a little bit top heavy. I do think there's some value picks that you can get late lottery, late teens, in the 20s. And so depending on how the board falls, that's where you could see and why you could see a lot of teams trying to move up, some teams trading back depending on what needs they have on their respective rosters. Let's get the comment section going once again. Name a player who you want the Sixers to draft. Who do you want?
Let's go, baby. It could be VJ, it could be Ace, it could be some other guys. I know some people are fans of Kon Knueppel. I know some people are fans of Tre Johnson. It's funny, I made a short, I think over a month ago at this point, that was the Sixers cannot draft Tre Johnson. And up until today, it's still been getting some views and getting some buzz with people. Another player that people are very, very split on. So let's get some names, and we'll get some names in here, and we can talk about some of these names. First name I see, Tommy Gibbons, Jeremiah Fears in a trade down.
Okay.
So I like Fears, not for the Sixers. They just have no need for a point guard of his nature who, I'm not going to say he's like Tyrese Maxey, but coming out, a lot of the similar concerns. He's athletic, he can get to the rim, but a lot of questions with his jump shot, and he's going to be a negative on defense his whole career. But if you're a team like the Pelicans maybe, or the Nets, who are just looking for talent, man, Fears is an intriguing prospect. Again, someone who reclassified actually like Cooper Flagg, so he was super young coming into this season. He should be finishing up and just finish his senior year of high school. But he reclassified, and with Oklahoma in that tough SEC, was able to get them to the tournament as a freshman and really did dominate late in conference play. So he has no fear, no pun intended. A good player for sure. I think he'll be a top 6, top 7 pick tonight. But not for the Sixers.
I'm looking at the poll question here. We've been riding the seesaw, going back and forth. Who do you want the Sixers to draft tonight? Get your votes in. We're up to 345 votes. Dead even split. 43% VJ Edgecombe. 43% Ace Bailey.
Yeah, and Armani Marie brings up a good point with Kon Knueppel. He's someone who, if the Sixers traded back with the Pelicans at 7, I'm all over that, right? I love his fit on this team. At 3, there's just no way I'm taking him at 3. He's very pro-ready right now, and he can fit into the Sixers roster with his jump shooting ability. He's one of the better, if not the best, three-point shooters in this class. But what's his ceiling really? He's not going to be a great defender. in his entire career because he's slow-footed.
Yeah.
So he's going to get blown by a lot. He's got a good handle. He can run some pick and roll, but just not a great athlete. So, what's his role offensively? I've seen some comparisons to like a Cam Johnson on offense, but a very poor defender. If he's at 7, again, that's great, but not at number 3. Man. So even someone like VJ with his athleticism, just a higher upside than someone like Kon Knueppel.
Yeah. So we're talking about Ace. We're talking about VJ. We have some scouting reports that we can dive into on both of these players. And I do want to talk about both Ace Bailey and VJ Edgecombe before the draft gets underway. 8.5 minutes to go. For Ace Bailey, let's start there because he's the player who, if Chip and I were calling the shots, even with some of the red flags and canceling the workout for Philadelphia, we're both going this direction because we think that Ace Bailey has star potential. I don't think that VJ Edgecombe has star potential. For Bailey, excellent shot maker, rises over the top of defenders with a high release point, a lot of length. That's why you get some of those Kevin Durant comps. He said yesterday in his pre-draft press conference / meeting that he gained 20 pounds since his season ended with Rutgers. Adding weight, improving his intensity could lead to him being a disruptive wing defender. The high-level defense is not there yet, but it could be. He could definitely improve his shot creation and his selection. Last year, 33.4 minutes per game, 17.5 points per game, more than 7 rebounds, under 35% from three-point range. Can really get to his shot anywhere on the floor, and you could see a scenario in which he can average 20, 25 points per game and be a high-level scorer, and just because of the athleticism and length, he can get by defensively, if not become a really good defensive player. For VJ Edgecombe, explosive athleticism that shows up as a finisher and on defense. He's breathtaking in the open floor. He's shown the ability to develop into an elite shooter on the perimeter. Just needs to get more consistent there. He's still working on his creation off the dribble. And that is something that you can develop. The shot, if you're a bad shooter, sometimes you're just a bad shooter. But you can work on your handle, you can work on your dribble. A lot of mechanical things that you can adjust there in order to get better in that area. For Baylor last year, Edgecombe, 15 points per game, 5.5 rebounds, more than 2 steals, 43.6% from the field. So more of a well-rounded player. If you draft VJ Edgecombe, probably means that he's going to come off the bench. Jared McCain's going to come off the bench. What does that also mean for Quentin Grimes? He's a restricted free agent. We were talking about the moves that Daryl Morey has made for the Sixers team. What a move, bringing in Quentin Grimes, who was their best player at the end of last year with all those injuries taking place. So Edgecombe, Bailey, the 2 names that have been mentioned and linked to the Sixers the most. All right, let's go. Closing in on the start of the 2025 NBA draft. If you're pumped up, if you're ready, hit that thumbs up icon. Like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. 240 people hanging out. Over 100 likes. Thanks for getting us there.
Let's go.
We're at $40 in Super Chats. You want to donate to the show, we'll obviously always appreciate that. A lot of competition tonight on YouTube, on live television, but we promise you, you won't regret hanging out here for our coverage because we're going to bring the heat all night long. A lot of these players coming out, dapping some kids up as they come to the stage for the NBA draft.
Some of these fits we got going on.
I know. Some interesting fits. It is crazy how sometimes styles go away and come back. When I was growing up, everybody was wearing baggy clothes, baggy suits. And for instance, Allen Iverson would always have shorts below his knees. Now a lot of players are, almost all of them, wearing shorts above their knees. But I'm seeing some baggy suits return. I'm seeing some suit shorts.
Yeah, you saw Tre Johnson rocking that.
Tre Johnson wearing suit shorts. I don't like that look. I would never go with that.
Khaman Maluach is an interesting player, too. He's been linked a little bit to Philadelphia. Now,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. If the Sixers at number 3 take Khaman Maluach,
We riot.
spells bad news for Joel Embiid, too.
We riot.
I like him as a player, and I think he can be really good, but he's very, very raw. Just not the direction to go at number 3. And again, if you take a center at number 3, it's not good for Joel Embiid and his prospects. But I don't see that happening. Even if they traded down to like 7, I'd still go a couple of different directions and go in center, man. But there's been some people that really want it. There's been some people in the comments that are like, man, let's get Khaman Maluach. But three be crazy. I don't care if you want a center, if you're tired of the guards. I'm not going big. Under 5 minutes to go. 109 likes. How many likes can we pick up right now? Right before this draft starts. Cactus plant, no guards. I get it. I get it. VJ, though, a little different than what you have on the roster. You don't have an athlete like VJ. Now, Grimes is a good defender. VJ also a good defender. You could argue, maybe Oubre attacking the rim, kind of similar to VJ, but one, there's no guarantee that Oubre is back on this team next year. You just simply don't have an athlete at that guard spot like VJ Edgecombe. You just don't.
Yeah, Jay Billis compared him to like a young Victor Oladipo or Dwayne Wade.
High praise going with D Wade there, but you can see it. And obviously when these comps are being made,
D Wade didn't really have much of a 3-point game.
Yeah,
high level defender, really good athlete.
Yeah, and obviously Dwayne Wade developed into the player he became. If for VJ would have to develop into that, right? He's not saying VJ Edgecombe is Dwayne Wade. Just has the potential if obviously Dwayne Wade was able to figure out the whole shot creating thing for himself.
Like
right?
for instance, player comps are always a big thing during draft time, whether it's NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, NHL. Like Kevin O'Connor, formerly of The Ringer, now with Yahoo, for Cooper Flagg, comparison. Scottie Pippen, Andre Karolinko, both great players. Dylan Harper, Darren Williams, Cade Cunningham, Kon Knueppel, Cam Johnson, Bojan Bogdanovic, Tre Johnson, Tyler Hero, Ray Allen, VJ Edgecombe, Victor Oladipo, Christian Brown. Christian Brown's an interesting name. He's been an important key cog for Denver. I don't think he'll ever become a star. And that's why I go Ace Bailey. I think that he could be a star. Now, he could very well flame out, but I think he has that star potential.
And that's what I've said, too. Because you got to think about the Sixers, ideally, you don't think they'll be picking this high again, hopefully, in the foreseeable future, right? You hope that they're not picking at 3 year after year after year.
Exactly.
And they won't be because their pick is going to OKC next year more than likely. So if you're at 3, man, just take the chance, take the swing. But as Chase brought up earlier, and I was mentioning earlier, maybe Daryl Morey and Nick Nurse feel like they don't have enough time left potentially on this team. If they aren't good enough next year, they could be gone. And then it doesn't matter if they drafted Ace Bailey if he becomes good because they don't have their jobs here anymore.
Yeah.
So it's very, very interesting. I don't love that mindset when you're drafting, but unfortunately it's just the reality of how things go.
The comps from KOC for Ace Bailey, Rudy Gay, Michael Porter Jr. So those are some interesting ones as well. All right, we're closing in on the start of the NBA draft. Under a minute to go. Clap your hands, everybody.
Let's go.
250 people rocking with us, 118 likes. Be sure to hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. Our audience is going to skyrocket here soon. Shout out to all of the real ones who have been here early because you've been with us since the inception. Japoy really knows ball. I have a feeling Morey will trade the 3rd overall pick. I mean, you're throwing out some deep dive second-round prospects, Japoy. I love that, and I think you're right on some of those. I hope you're wrong about Daryl Morey trading the 3rd pick. Although I did tweet out, instead of going VJ Edgecombe, I'd almost rather the Sixers trade back and take Kon Knueppel. I think that if you're looking for players to help you right now, Kon Knueppel could really help you, and I know he has an elite trait outside of just athleticism.
Man, that
Milton
shooting.
Stewart saying, let's go Sixers.
Shooting would fit perfectly on this team.
Yes,
man.
it would.
It really would.
Defense is a problem, as you mentioned.
Yeah, defense is definitely a problem. He's someone you're going to have to try to hide, which you think about where the NBA is going now, right? Just think about the Pacers and the Thunder. They don't have guys on their roster that you got to hide.
Right.
Think about the Pacers, right? Obviously,
deep.
Halliburton, not a great defender, but did show improvement, obviously, before the injury. He was looking better. And then it's Miles Turner, Pascal Siakam, Andrew Nembhard, Aaron Nesmith, all plus defenders, right? So it's tough to have guys out there come playoff time that are a liability on either end of the floor. And so that's why I like someone like Ace Bailey, because I don't see him being a liability on either end of the floor. Someone like VJ, there's a chance. I'm not going to call him a liability on offense, but if he can't shoot and he can't create his own shot and he can't finish at the rim, which, again, he wasn't a great finisher at the rim in college. And it's like, man, that's a problem. And Chase made a great point earlier. Then you have a more athletic Matisse Thybulle.
Yep.
And, again.
Those are my worries.
Yeah. Did he get a mural in Philly? Sure. But he didn't do a whole lot.
Thanks to the
for this
artist.
team. Yeah.
Thanks to the artist. Ace. It's Ace for me.
Yeah, I would take Ace. I think they will take VJ.
Yeah. That's how I think it goes, too. But I don't know. Like, part of me is like, Daryl Morey is always willing to be aggressive and take chances. Could he just say F it and say, we have an opportunity to land a one-of-one guy? And that one-of-one guy is Ace Bailey. So as the draft approaches and nearly gets underway, pick one player to draft if you're Philadelphia. Is it VJ Edgecombe? Is it Ace Bailey? Type VJ or AB down in the comment section. Brendan, AB. Oh, man. Rich Teshko. VJ is Eric Snow, only more athletic. That's crazy. See, Chip doesn't know about Eric Snow. I know about Eric Snow.
I'm a little too young for that. I know the name, but that's about it.
Milton Stewart, AB. B-Doc said Kon Knueppel.
Wow.
Alessandro, AB. Losing Hope, AB. James Exum, AB. What's up, Losing Hope? Good to hear from you. Rob D, type in AB. Japoy said trade. Eric Snow, number 20. You already know B-Doc. R. Wilson, just draft Ace, and that's what I'm doing. I'm drafting the best player. That's how I'm rocking. Worry about the rest later. Plus, it makes Summer League a lot of fun. For content purposes, Ace Bailey is the better pick.
Oh, yeah. All right. Any minute now, Mavs should officially be on the clock. It's a formality. We know they're going Cooper Flagg.
Oh, I don't know. I just saw Ace Bailey's draft fit. He might be a bust.
You're not liking the fit?
Chip, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, let me see.
I don't like it. We could show the viewers, too, what Ace Bailey is rocking. Full body look. I don't like it.
Whoa.
It's a red flag.
Whoa. Oh, man.
It's got like Michael Jackson Thriller vibes, but with a sprinkle of punk.
It's interesting for sure. Here's the fit.
This is the fit from Ace Bailey. Him wearing this, do you automatically pinpoint him as a bust? I joke, but that's a bad fit.
Oh, here comes Silver.
Here comes Adam Silver. Type boo in the chat. Type boo in the chat.
Boo! Boo!
People are booing OKC. Man, that city only has 700,000 people. 500,000 people showed up. How about this, though? Adam Silver thinks that's a flex. In Green Bay, Wisconsin, more people showed up on night one of the NFL draft than people live there. That's just the NFL draft. All right, Adam. Get on with it. Put the Mavs on the clock.
Everyone's saying, boo, cheater. Yeah, he's the one who gave the Mavs that pick. Should have been us, Adam. Should have been us.
Should have been us.
We wouldn't have had to deal with any of this if we could have had Cooper Flagg, man. You had to give it to someone who doesn't deserve it. Oh, yeah, there's Ace.
What's up, Ace?
There's
VJ
VJ.
Edgecombe.
Dylan Harper. The top four guys.
Dallas Mavericks. 5 minutes on the clock.
They're on the clock.
Adam Silver gets booed again. I like this, though. 5 minutes between picks. I can do that.
Yeah, it's quick. I think it was 8 last year.
Yep. And then what is it, 4 minutes tomorrow night for round 2?
One less pick tomorrow night, by the way, because the
Knicks
Knicks are cheaters.
New York Knicks tampered. No reports that I'm seeing that's recent from any of the NBA or Sixers insiders.
Yeah, by all accounts right now, they're supposed to stay at number 3. We'll see if we get any movement.
We do have a pretty hot take. Stephen A. Smith, I think Cooper Flagg potentially makes the Mavericks the number 1 threat to OKC. So that Stephen A. like in Dallas over Houston. That'll be a fun Texas rivalry. It'll be a fun regional rivalry because OKC, Dallas, Houston, all within range. Upcoming picks, here's the draft order under 4 minutes on the clock for Dallas. They're going to go Cooper Flagg. Mavericks 1, Spurs 2, Sixers 3, Hornets at number 4. The Dallas Mavericks, of course, trading away Luka Doncic. A very controversial trade. It broke the hearts of a lot of Dallas fans. That's where our HQ is based. And we have some people who are diehard Mavericks fans. They were bewildered, flummoxed, shocked, heartbroken. But then Adam Silver somehow messes with the lottery balls, if you believe in conspiracy theories, and Dallas gets the number 1 overall pick after trading Luka. 39-43 last year. They did miss the playoffs. They were in the NBA play-in tournament. Anthony Davis was terrific, but did not make the playoffs. Number 1 pick in the draft. Last year, they took Melvin Ajinka in the 2024 draft.
Who?
Their key free agents, Kyrie Irving, who's expected to sign a 3-year deal that I think could be end up being a steal for Dallas if he can play well and stay healthy, considering what the market and going rate is for a player like that. Dante Exum, Spencer Dinwiddie, Dwight Powell. Massive opportunity to reset the franchise timeline after that shocking trade of Luka. And it looks like it's going to be Cooper Flagg by all indications. I guess you never know what Nico Harrison's going to do.
You never know.
Nobody thought that the Mavericks were ever going to trade away Luka in his prime, in his mid-20s, a year after they made it to the NBA Finals.
Here it is.
But the pick is in, and we'll also have these picks before any live television networks or YouTube channels have them. With the first overall pick in the 2025 NBA Draft, the Dallas Mavericks select Cooper Flagg, wing out of Duke. He's been looked at as a generational player for a couple of years, started to gain a lot of traction on the AAU circuit in high school and when he was playing for his own high school. A huge get for John Shire and the Duke Blue Devils. And he ended up having a terrific year. Really good size at nearly 6'8", 221 pounds. In 2024-2025, put up really excellent numbers. Day 1 difference maker defensively. Has the upside to guard really every position with the athletic traits and the size that he has. He finishes strong through contact. Already has the feel to use his size and hunt some mismatches. Does have a little bit of a questionable shot form, but it does work for him. And he was pretty efficient last year for Duke. 19 points per game, 7.5 rebounds. We always like to talk stocks here on the show, that steals and blocks. Even distribution there for Flagg last year. 1.4 blocks per game, 1.4 steals per game. So this is a two-way, high-level impact player who's going to be able to put his fingerprints on the game on both ends. Shot 48.1% from the field. And you look at that Mavericks team, we'll see when Kyrie Irving comes back. You have Anthony Davis. You now have Cooper Flagg, who fits in very nicely as a wing. Derek Lively, really good young big. They have some other pieces who you have to really like. A player like Daniel Gafford. And so they have star-level talent. Their lineup is very evenly distributed as far as which players can play where and the versatility. Solid head coach in Jason Kidd. I'm not going to go as far as to say what Stephen A. said, which is that the Mavericks can challenge OKC for the top spot in the West. I still think you have to factor in a team like Houston. How do the Lakers look with Luka Doncic, hopefully getting in better shape and having more of an acclimation process going into year 2, especially under J.J. Redick as he enters year 2 too. Luka was also injured a lot last year, but the landscape in the West going to be highly competitive. You factor in other teams like Denver and Minnesota. Grade the pick of Cooper Flagg to Dallas. A, B, C, D, or F. Share your thoughts with us. Adam Silver just announcing Cooper Flagg to Dallas. We already talked about that in the fullest detail possible. Flagg to Dallas. Number 1 player in high school, number 1 player in college basketball, number 1 player in the 2025 NBA draft. Some people are typing F. For the Mavericks, it's an A. The Sixers missing out on Cooper Flagg. Yeah, of course, that would be an F.
Man.
Drippy Prod saying A. Go Birds. Echoing Chip. F. Should have been us.
Should have been us, man. Should have been us. Could have been us.
Robbie, I want that shooting from Kon Knueppel. B-Doc, Adam Silver could play with his balls.
Whoa!
He was playing with
B-Doc.
those lottery balls, I think. So Flagg up to the stage. Throws on the Mavericks hat. And he's a Dallas Maverick.
Obviously no surprise, but how lucky for the Dallas Mavericks. Yeah, the question isn't how good he's going to be. It's we know he's going to be good. How quickly is he going to reach his ceiling?
Yep.
You know, I wouldn't predict he's an all-star in year 1, but it certainly could be in the cards, especially with Kyrie Irving out for at least the first half of the year. With him and Anthony Davis, like, could he really take over as that main ball handler for them?
Yep. Has that ability for sure. You would think that Mavericks fans are so pumped up about this. More people are watching our show than our Mavericks show. Shout out to all the Philly legends. Let's go.
Let's go, baby. Sixers almost on the clock. 2 picks away.
Yep. Sixers technically on deck because the Spurs technically on the clock. And we'll be getting that Spurs pick in here in the next couple of minutes before ESPN gets it. And it's kind of chalk, right? Cooper Flagg 1. It's going to be Dylan Harper number 2. Barring a crazy trade. Talking about teams in the West. How about the Spurs? I mean, at what point did they become a bona fide playoff team in the Western Conference? Now, Greg Popovich stepping aside from his head coaching duties, I think he needed to do that because of his health. I think that helps out Dallas. Or I think it helps out San Antonio, excuse me. You now know what you have at head coach. You don't have to deal with the inconsistencies and the unknowns there. The health status, obviously, of Victor Wembanyama, going to be big with that blood clot. But they trade for De'Aaron Fox. They have some other really good players on that team. Did the Spurs become a playoff team in 2025, 2026?
They could be a dangerous team, man. Very, very dangerous team. What if Spurs take Ace Bailey? It's all but guaranteed at this point that the Spurs are taking Dylan Harper. Could they do something crazy? You know, I guess, but by all accounts, this pick will be Dylan Harper. Hey, if you're not subscribed, you ain't alive, baby.
Hit that sub button.
Come on, man.
Look at our sub counter right here. Let's go.
I want to get as close to 23K subscribers as we can tonight. First, can we get to 22,500? We're 48 subs away. We got Sixers coverage all year long, baby. We had the best pre-draft coverage you'll find on YouTube, absolutely free, costs you nothing. We've been talking draft for a while now here on the show. And, of course, we still have the entire offseason to go before we get into next year. So, lock us in. We just got a sub. Cheers.
Cheers to everybody for watching. Man, Duke players drafted #1, modern draft era. What a list. Elton Brand. Kyrie Irving. Paolo Banchero. Cooper Flagg. Now, Jay Billis, his best players in this draft, Cooper Flagg 1, Dylan Harper 2, Ace Bailey #3. Our draft expert, Nick Roloff, not high on Ace Bailey at all.
No.
Kevin O'Connor even has him at #6. Where does Rolly have Ace Bailey?
Yeah, he's outside of the top 8.
Outside of the top 8.
He
So we saw that earlier. But we were shown the top 8. I didn't know how far outside of the top 8 he was. So you could go through their best players available here, starting at 1. This is according to our draft expert, Nick Roloff. Dylan Harper, VJ Edgecombe, Tre Johnson, Jeremiah Fears, Kasparas Yakachunas, Kon Knueppel, Khaman Maluach. Is it soft C or hard C? Maluach?
Maluach, yeah.
Maluach.
Yeah.
Igor Demon, Carter Bryant, Derek Queen, Ace Bailey. So he had Ace Bailey as his 12th best player.
Just crazy to me having Ace Bailey below Carter Bryant. But hey, everyone's got their own thing.
All right, pick is in at #2 for the San Antonio Spurs. And as we predicted, it's Dylan Harper. Guard out of Rutgers. Heading to San Antonio, another young stud joining forces with Victor Wembanyama. Harper, one of the big gets for that Rutgers program that didn't make it to the NCAA tournament. From Franklin Lakes, New Jersey, 19 years old, 6'4.5", Pops played in the NBA, 213 pounds, highest drafted Rutgers player since 1979.
Woo!
Harper, really poised and talented ball handler, very crafty finisher at the rim. He gets very creative around the 10, has the physical attributes and awareness to become a more engaged defender. And that's really the knock on a lot of these young players. They don't have to defend much in high school or in college. At the NBA level, you have to. Showed some ability shooting off the catch, but he has been a little bit streaky with Rutgers last year. You got almost 40 points per game from Harper and Bailey. But that offense was really clunky because Rutgers didn't really have good surrounding pieces, and then at times they didn't know where to go with the rock. But Harper had no troubles producing. 19 points per game, 4 dimes, almost a steal and a half per night. You like the field goal percentage there, 48%. He can really drive and kick. He can navigate in and out of the lane. He's just an overall playmaker, Chet.
Yeah, Dylan Harper, man. We talked about the Sixers possibly trading up to #2. I think he's far and away the second best player in this class. A lot of comps to Cade Cunningham. He plays physical. He plays downhill. I think he's a better defender than he's shown because he had such an offensive burden for Rutgers. That team was terrible, by the way. I know a lot of people will say, man, why was Rutgers so bad? They had Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey. Like, why were they so bad? It's got to be their fault. Sure, part of it is on them. But that team was really horrific. They did what they could. And honestly, it hurt them a lot of times because when they're playing other teams, everyone knows it's Dylan Harper, it's Ace Bailey. No one else is doing anything. So we can just load it up against these two guys. So Dylan Harper is going to be an absolute stud. There's a reason that the Spurs took him, already having De'Aaron Fox and Stephon Castle on the roster. But that means the Philadelphia 76ers are on the clock, baby. Let's go.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Sixers. 10, 9, 8, 76ers.
Let's go.
3 minutes and change until the Sixers pick is due in. And who will the Sixers go after? We can pop up their team card there, Chip. Obviously, last year, a disastrous campaign for Philadelphia. One of the more disappointing seasons in franchise history based on the expectations that the Sixers had. 24-58 in the original NBA draft lottery odds before the lottery balls were spinning. The Sixers were slated to get pick 5. And obviously they were in danger of losing that pick to the eventual NBA champions in the Oklahoma City Thunder. The lottery balls fell their way, and they got the number 3 pick. So 24-58, third overall selection. In the second round, they have pick number 35. So they quickly pick in the second round. That's an opportunity to get another really good player. I mean, you think about players picked in that range. Draymond Green, Nikola Jokic, Jalen Brunson. You can get some quality players in the second round. There are a lot of really good basketball players out there. Last year, I really like what the Sixers did in the draft. Jared McCain, I think, was on his way to becoming Rookie of the Year before that knee injury. Adem Bona in the second round. I think he has potential. Key free agents. Quentin Grimes is a restricted free agent. Kyle Lowry, according to reports, probably going to play one more year. He wants that to be in his home city of Philadelphia. He's so far cooked. Kelly Oubre Jr., a restricted free agent. He has that player option. And then Gershon Yabusele. Expectations for Philadelphia's potential really continue to hinge on Joel Embiid's health. And that brings us to their team needs. An Embiid replacement, but you're not going to go center at number 3 overall because this is a weak center class outside of Queen from Maryland. And a connecting guard. Can that connecting guard be VJ Edgecombe? I personally think Ace Bailey works better with McCain and Maxey.
All right, Chase.
So we will certainly
see.
The
pick is in.
I'll
have you blind react to this one for us.
I'm going to blind react to this. Blind reaction to the Philadelphia 76ers, 3rd overall pick in the 2025 NBA draft. It is.
We don't have it quite yet.
We don't have it quite yet.
Still loading.
I'll start over. We don't know who it is, and I'm not looking at my phone yet.
They are not
also,
trading the pick.
The Sixers don't have any projected cap space either. No projected cap space either. So last year in free agency, they were very busy, very active. It's not going to be the case in free agency this go around. So ESPN is showing that the pick is in. Bobby Marks' team needs facilitator 3-and-D wing. VJ Edgecombe can be that 3-and-D wing, although he's a little bit shorter. And the issue is Maxey and McCain are a little bit shorter too. Which is why Joel Embiid's health is so important for this team.
The suspense is building, baby.
The suspense is building. I can't take it anymore.
Big dog.
Who's it going to be? We're not sure yet. Jay Billis is best available. Ace, Edgecombe, Tre Johnson, Kon Knueppel, Colin Murray Boyles out of South Carolina. We haven't mentioned his name yet.
Ace or VJ, that's the debate. Which way are they going to go, baby?
Is it going to be Ace? Is it going to be VJ? It's 45% Ace Bailey, 41% Edgecombe in the chat.
All right, Chase, you ready? Here we go.
Blind reaction to the Sixers' third overall pick in the 2025 NBA draft. It is VJ Edgecombe, guard out of Baylor. The Sixers elect to not take Ace Bailey. That would have been the riskier pick, but in my opinion, Edgecombe doesn't have as much high-level upside as Ace Bailey. I think that Ace Bailey has star potential. That's the route I would have gone. And envisioning a future of Tyrese Maxey at the 1, Jared McCain at the 2, and Ace Bailey at the 3/4, I would be very excited about that. I'm not as juiced up about this pick of VJ Edgecombe. Don't get me wrong. Love the character. Love the work ethic. Love the two-way ability. He has stupid athleticism. But I would have gone with the player who I believe is better, who can become a star, and that's Bailey. It's not Edgecombe for me. Now, he used NIL money to fund scholarships for his former school in Bahamas. That's awesome. That's great. Again, I appreciate the character. What I want is the best player. And the lack of shot really concerns me. 6'4", 193 pounds, 32.7 minutes per game last year for the Baylor Bears, 15 points per, 5.5 rebounds, 43.6% from the field. He can get his hands and his arms in the way of passing lanes. He can generate a lot of turnovers. As evidenced by the 2 steals, he's very active. He'll hit the glass. I think part of the reason the Sixers went this route too is that he's the safer pick. And Daryl Morey, Nick Nurse go that way because they know that their seats are hot. He's going to give the Sixers a lot of intensity. But at the NBA level, you can't always win with athleticism. The shooting form is something to build off of. It's not an ugly form. Jay Billis compared him to Victor Oladipo and a young D. Wade. I think that's best case scenario, very lofty. D. Wade's a top 25 player of all time, probably. Grade the pick. A, B, C, D, or F. What do you think of it?
What are our initial reactions? I know people are going to say, it's another guard. Oh, no. That's definitely going to be a reaction a lot of fans have, but I think he can be good, man. I think he can be good. Again, I agree with Chase. I would have gone Ace Bailey, but VJ, with his athleticism, he's going to play in transition right away. He's going to be able to get out and run. He's going to be able to make some highlight-level plays on offense. He's going to be a very good defender. That much we know for sure. Again, what does the shot end up looking like once he gets to the NBA? If he can be a 38% three-point shooter.
That's incredible.
And he can knock down his open threes. And if he even develops shooting off the dribble, creating his own shots, that's when you start to say, okay, this guy can be something special. But that has to be proven. And hopefully he can develop that. Sixers have done an underrated job of developing players in the draft, even guys that they let go. You know, think of a T.J. McConnell who was undrafted. Think of an Isaiah Joe who was a late pick. You know, a Paul Reed. Adam Bona looked good. Justin Edwards. Like, they do a good job of developing these guys. Credit to Daryl Morey. So, can they develop VJ's offensive game? Can he be more than just an athlete who plays hard, plays tough on the defensive end of the floor?
Jonathan Gavoni saying on VJ Edgecombe, great draft expert, the most explosive athlete in this draft. Edgecombe complements his considerable upside as a playmaker defensively with a rapidly improving perimeter skill level and feel for the game. I also like the fact that he has a good feel for the game. All of these are positives. We're going to go deep dive on this, right? Those of you who are just tuning in, closing in on 400 people watching live, we're going to go even deeper on the selection of VJ Edgecombe. Japoy, 6'4", same like Maxey. Yeah, I think Maxey's 6'4" on a good day. Define rapidly from Armani. Quickly is what that word means. but I worry about that development with the shot. I really do. All right, myself and Chip, we are going to react to the Sixers taking VJ Edgecombe with the 3rd overall pick in the 2025 NBA Draft. Continue to hang out here with us because we're about to do a segment on that. You ready to rock? All right, here we go. So the pick is in for the Philadelphia 76ers at 3rd overall in the 2025 NBA Draft. And I'm fascinated to see how Sixers fans react to this because it's been a polarizing pre-draft process for Philadelphia. The fan base has been split. A portion of the fan base wanted Ace Bailey. A portion of the fan base wanted VJ Edgecombe. Some fans wanted the Sixers to trade back, gather some draft capital, and take a player like Kon Knueppel, the sharpshooter out of Duke. Instead, Daryl Morey and Nick Nurse have taken VJ Edgecombe, the guard out of Baylor. And there's a lot to like about the player here who is going to Philadelphia and immediately becomes the best athlete on this Sixers roster. 6'4", 193 pounds, pogo sticks for legs, extremely explosive, the vertical leap, the dunking ability, the lateral quickness, the overall athleticism. You can make the argument he's the best athlete in this draft class. And it really shows up in transition. It shows up with his ability to finish around the 10. It's led to him becoming an excellent defender already. He really doesn't have to refine that portion of his game on the defensive end. He can make a high-level impact on the defensive side of the floor right from the jump as a rookie. He's shown the ability to develop into an elite shooter, but the shot is a little bit streaky. What's also a little bit spotty with VJ Edgecombe is his dribbling ability. And he's going to have to work on creating off the dribble, both for himself and for his teammates. That was a little bit of a weakness for him while at Baylor. Now, you look at the numbers for what he did in 2024, 2025. He averaged 15 points per game for a pretty solid Baylor team. His athletic ability allows him to crash the glass, rise up, and snatch the ball away from players he's competing with for boards. 5.5 rebounds. He is very active, getting his hands in the way of passing lanes. He has a really good feel for the game, and that led to him averaging more than 2 steals per game. That can lead to easy opportunities on the other end. It can lead to highlight reel-worthy plays for him on the offensive side of the floor. But with that three-point shot, he was right at 34% at Baylor. And one of my concerns for Edgecombe, you can bank on him being a great defensive player and an excellent athlete. But you look at teams like the Indiana Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder, who just went to 7 games in the NBA Finals, proving that the Big Three era of the NBA is over, and teams are really trying to prioritize having deep rosters with the multitude of players who can shoot. My concern is that VJ Edgecombe, worst case scenario, is a Matisse Thybulle. Good athlete, springy, can defend, but he can't shoot. And if he can't shoot, it really does hamper Philadelphia in a way that's a little bit concerning. So a lot of pluses here, and I think Daryl Morey and Nick Nurse feel the pressure of wanting to win right away and flushing what was arguably the most disappointing season in franchise history last year. They know that if they're disappointing again in 2025, 2026, they could be canned. And so they went with the easiest path and player who can help them right away. What I would have done is gone with Ace Bailey because I believe he has star potential. It's boom or bust, but I think that Ace Bailey can be a star. I'm not sure that VJ Edgecombe can become a star. Now, we'll talk Ace Bailey coming up here and the implications of this in a moment, but I don't want to take the spotlight away from VJ Edgecombe. What I do want to do is bring on producer Chip. He's been crushing it on this channel. He's been giving you excellent draft insight and analysis right here on 76ers Now. That's why you subscribe. We had a feeling it was going in this direction. Not surprised at all the Sixers go this route.
Yeah, not shocked. I, too, was an Ace Bailey guy leading up to the draft. And I, too, would have taken Ace Bailey, but I do still like, and I am still high on what VJ Edgecombe can be for this team. Now, the initial reaction for a lot of people, we're live on the channel right now, and a lot of people in the chat are saying, oh, here we go, another guard. And I get it. You obviously have Maxey. You have Quentin Grimes hopefully returning. You have Jared McCain. You do need another guard. But VJ brings something a little bit different, as Chase mentioned, with the athleticism, with the defensive ability from day one. This is why I think Morey and the Sixers really took VJ, is because they can bank on one skill of his, well, really two skills of his, being his defensive ability and his athleticism playing from day one. It's also a very Nick Nurse pick to me as well. We know Nurse is an aggressive defensive coach. Nick Nurse is going to love VJ Edgecombe on that side of the floor. And even when the Sixers team is fully healthy, right? You think about their personnel, outside of someone like Quentin Grimes, who we know to be a very good defender. Maxey, good, not great defender. I'd say solid. McCain, not a very good defender.
Undersized.
Paul George has kind of fallen off a little bit on the defensive end of the floor. I like what Justin Edwards can do, but VJ now comes in and is one of your best perimeter defenders right away. Now, he has to get better offensively. To me, where he goes from good to great is, can he hit his open shots? He was very good hitting his open catch-and-shoot threes in college. Outside of that, not a whole lot with that jump shot. And he also weirdly struggled a little bit to finish at the rim despite how athletic he was. So, again, it's not like this home run guaranteed pick that's going to make such a huge impact from day one. But I think with his defense, with his athleticism, he has the tools. It's just, can he really put it all together on the offensive end of the floor? Then he can reach the upside of someone like some comps that have been thrown out there as a D Wade.
Yep.
Otherwise, then you're hoping for a 3-and-D wing, maybe at best, worst case, as Chase mentioned, like a Matisse Thybulle, who can be a good defender but just never develops it on the offensive end. An exciting pick, though. He's going to make some highlight-level plays, and I am excited for what he can bring to the 76ers team.
You just hope this isn't a Markelle Fultz over Jason Tatum situation. Philadelphia sports teams, in my lifetime and prior to me being in existence, have missed a lot early in drafts, especially, oddly enough, with the 3rd overall pick. A lot of people do like player comps this time of the year during draft season. Jay Billis said that Edgecombe kind of reminds him of a young Victor Oladipo, a young Dwayne Wade, if he becomes Dwayne Wade, which I don't think is going to happen. Obviously, that's best case scenario. Kevin O'Connor comparing him to Oladipo as well. Christian Brown. Christian Brown has been a very important piece to what the Denver Nuggets have done and are doing. He was a member of that championship team a couple of years ago, and he's a valuable player. But there are issues with his shot, his offensive ability. And so Edgecombe, he's explosive. He's a high motor guy. He can fly out of nowhere for big-time poster dunks, some chase down blocks. He'll have some highlight reel-worthy plays in year one because he's going to be able to do those aforementioned things. He can pair his excellent athleticism with a knockdown spot-up jumper. He is a good slasher, so some good off-ball movement. Just needs to improve his shot creation to become more of that go-to primary creator. Lob threat, he's a pickpocket guy, and some people think that he's a three-point marksman. I just think that the shot needs to be better. The good news is that the form and the shot form is there, and it's not like a Ben Simmons situation where he shoots the ball like this as a left-hander. Like Edgecombe as a righty, everything is very tighty, it's tight, it's mechanically sound, and hopefully he can build off that and he can develop a dribble. So I want you to grade the pick down in the comment section here. VJ Edgecombe to Philadelphia, A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know what you think of it down in the comment section. And frankly, I can't wait for Summer League. Those of you who watched the draft or were hanging out here with us, we saw Edgecombe walk up to the stage, shake the hand of Adam Silver in this Philadelphia 76ers draft hat. And thanks to our friends at Fanatics, you can get yours. I think it's an awesome hat. Written font on the front, 76ers logo on the side, and you can rock the same hat as these Sixers draftees. Chatsports.com/76 draft hat. Use that link. It'll take you to Fanatics. These will go very quickly. So really limited time only. And then fanatics will know that Chase Sr., producer Chip, 76ers Now, and Chat Sports sent you. White hats available, blue hats available, even the bucket hat style. We'll put that link down below in the show notes, in the description of this video, and attached to the pinned comment of tonight's Philadelphia 76ers Now. So as we progress here, the other element of this conversation is Ace Bailey. He is the player who the Sixers did not select. Now, him and his camp did say in the pre-draft process, according to reports, that Ace Bailey did not want to go to the Utah Jazz. Well, as we're recording this live, guess where he's going? Utah Jazz at number 5. Kon Knueppel went to the Charlotte Hornets at number 4. And Utah gets a player who, best case scenario, ultimate upside, some people think that he can be better than Cooper Flagg. Some people think that he can be the next Kevin Durant because he's tall, long, lean. He can get his shot off from anywhere. He has a deep offensive arsenal and a deep offensive game. He is definitely a microwave scorer where sometimes he's cooking. Other times he can be cold. He's a ridiculous shot-making machine who can hit contested jumpers because of the size and where the shot gets off from. Every spot on the floor, he has the ability to find twine. I also really like his swagger. It is that swagger of an old-school throwback bucket getter who says, you know what? You might have good defense. I'm going to give you better offense. He does have rawness, if you will, to his game. And the shooting percentages weren't great. And sometimes he can take some really bad shots. But, man, you watch him play, and you can envision him perhaps being the best player in this draft class. Rise over the top of defenders, high release point and length. He said he's added 20 pounds since the season ended with Rutgers. He could definitely improve his shot creation. He's going to go to a bad Utah team. He might, right from the jump, take 20 shots per night. And that's why maybe he didn't want to go to Philadelphia, because he looks at that roster and he says, where am I going to get shots to go on my quickest path of becoming a star and getting that second contract with Tyrese Maxey, Jared McCain, Paul George, and Joel Embiid? I want to go somewhere where I can stake my claim as one of the top scorers in the NBA. So, Chip, I'll welcome you back on. You and I, definitely big Ace Bailey guys. Sixers don't go that route, and we just hope it doesn't come back to bite them, because they had the opportunity, and the opportunity was there for them to ace the pick.
Yeah, I like that. Ace the pick, baby. Look,
Had to bring it back.
I was an ace guy as well, and would I have still taken him? Yes. For all the reasons Chase mentioned, the upside, that number one go-to scoring profile that he has with his ability to make tough shots. And yeah, he takes a lot of tough shots, but he makes a lot of them as well. I think that goes unstated a lot of times when people say how bad his shot profile is. He's making a lot of these bad shots at the end of the day. And look, does I need to improve? Yes, but as much as I wish they would have taken him, and I would have taken him as well, you have to acknowledge the potential low floor that he does have if the shot quality doesn't improve and he isn't able to play in the flow of an offense. And I could understand why the Sixers did not want to go this route. Somebody who in the pre-draft process seemed like he was only concerned about getting that second contract. He wasn't concerned about winning. He didn't really care if he won a lot of games early in his career. He, truthfully, to me, didn't even care if he was going to be developed in the right way as a player. What he seemed to care about, and his team seemed to care about, is just going somewhere where he can score the ball and show off basically what he did at Rutgers, which was lose a bunch of games more often than not, but put up some really good numbers. And you know what? As much as I believe in the upside of the player, and I think he could be great, he can only be great if he wants to be great. And if he doesn't want to fit in that kind of mold as a player and he would rather just be an empty scorer, that's fine. You can go do that in Utah for however long, get paid a bunch of money. So I can see from the Sixers' perspective, for a team that obviously wants to win now, they decided, you know what, we're going to stay away from this. We're going to take a guy that's going to come in here, he's going to work hard, he's going to be able to play a secondary role. And if Ace Bailey's great, you know, we might regret it down the line, but it's the decision they made. And I would have gone Ace, but I'm going to trust this front office's decision at this moment, but certainly could come back to bite them in 5 or so years.
Derek Bodner is a good basketball mind, and he has some further insight on Edgecombe here. Averaged 17.1 points per game and shot 46% from the field, 36% from three-point range over his final 17 games at Baylor. So struggled a little bit to start the year. Also looked dynamic with the Bahamas last summer. So could he benefit from NBA spacing? That's also a part of this conversation. And he could. And oftentimes we have seen players go from college to the NBA where they become better players because of the spacing, because of the better coaching, because of the talent and the complementary pieces around them. Before we dip on out of here, join the channel. Year-round 76ers content for free. Hit that subscribe button, and while you're at it, hit that bell icon, turn on your notifications there for anytime we go live, anytime we push out a show like this, you'll be notified. Man, Jonathan Givony just compared Ace Bailey to Jason Tatum, and now I'm sick.
Look, it's one of those things that people were saying in the pre-draft process, how far will Ace fall? Because for a lot of prospects, you do some of the stuff he was doing in the pre-draft where you're coming out and you're trying to determine where you want to be drafted, that's going to turn a lot of teams away. And funny enough, earlier today, Paul George came out and was like, man, you can't be doing this. You're not even in the NBA yet. You have no right to be out here trying to choose where you want to go. But at the same time, the biggest counter argument to that was Ace has the upside, and GMs hate to look bad. They hate to look wrong. And it's a risk to pass up on him knowing how good he could be down the line, and then you look like the idiot because you were concerned about something that didn't end up coming to fruition, and he ended up being a really good player. So it's a risk, and clearly the Jazz are willing to take it, and it makes sense for a team like the Jazz because they are horrible. They have nothing. So makes sense for them.
This pick for Philadelphia did get the stamp of approval from none other than Jay Wright. He said, I love this pick. Talent, competitiveness, character. Go Sixers. So here is what has happened so far in the NBA draft. Cooper Flagg, number 1 to Dallas. Dylan Harper, number 2 to the Spurs. I'd say VJ Edgecombe to the Sixers at 3, kind of chalk, right?
Yeah.
We all kind of anticipated that being the order, 1, 2, 3. Kon Knueppel, number 4 to the Charlotte Hornets. Your thoughts there, Chet?
Yeah, look, it was talked about as a possibility because they were another team that Ace didn't want to go to. Ace didn't want to work out there. How did they feel about taking someone who didn't want to be there? And so then for them, it was like, okay, well, assuming VJ's off the board, because VJ was the guy for Charlotte for a while when it was assumed the Sixers were going to take Ace. So then VJ comes off the board, and then Charlotte goes with Kon Knueppel, who I do like the fit there, playing next to LaMelo Ball, who should theoretically get kind of a lot of open shots from the outside. They had Brandon Miller, of course.
He was good last year, Brandon Miller.
Very good last year. Dealt with some injuries, but look, when he's on, he's that, honestly, kind of a player who Ace Bailey aspires to be, this big wing who can score the ball, create his own shots. So now you surround him with a player like Kon. You know, the Hornets, if they are fully healthy, could be an interesting team. There was some buzz of them being interested in Khaman Maluach because Mark Williams was traded and then not traded in that weird scenario. So a lot of speculation he'll be moved. But I do like the fit here of Kon. Number 4 is kind of crazy, but when you look at the other players that were available, like they weren't going to take Jeremiah Fears. I don't think he's a good fit with LaMelo. I don't think Tre Johnson's a good fit with LaMelo either. So Kon was really that next guy unless they were going to take one of the centers. So Kon Knueppel going to the Hornets there at number 4. I like the pick. Unfortunately, Charlotte's not a great situation. Even if they have talented players, it always seems like that they can never turn that corner to success. So
right.
I would have loved to see Kon maybe on, again, a team like Philly who maybe a little more ready to win. But I do like the player. I think he's better than people are mentioning. A lot of people want to pin him as just the shooter. He can do some things with the ball in his hands. He can run the pick and roll. So I like that pick for them. And then, of course, the Ace Bailey pick, man, I'm curious to see what the people in the chat are saying right now with Ace Bailey going to Utah and not the 76ers. Kenny Grant, Ace is a scary boomer bust player. There is definitely no doubt about that. And that's the risk with a player like that, with a front office that kind of feeling some pressure to win games. B-Doc, you guys are awesome. Appreciate you, B-Doc. You guys are awesome for hanging out here with us. Armani, I'm happy to stand on principle. Bailey can go wherever. And I'll say this too. VJ, by all accounts, was a very high character guy. You know, we talked about his pre-draft workout.
That does matter too.
It does matter. Look, his pre-draft workout, there was reports that he was a little bit nervous, which, you know, a little bit worrisome. I'm more worried about the fact that he didn't shoot good in the pre-draft workout. Of course, you know, we've talked about it at length. That's the skill he really has to develop, is the shooting, and he didn't shoot well in the pre-draft. But it was also reported that he really, really impressed Philadelphia in his interviews, in his meetings. Very, very high character, a guy that's going to come in and work. He played for the Bohemian national team. And with guys like Buddy Hield was on that team and other NBA players on that team. And there's reports that he looked the best out of any player on that team. So he's got some experience playing against NBA-level guys. Look, we'll get him in the building. Let him go to work. You know, people were speculative of Jared McCain last year for different reasons. But McCain, you know, not being much of an athlete, being a little bit of an undersized player, falling all the way to 16. Would he be able to score in the NBA? And then it was a small sample size, but, man, Jared McCain was killing it in the NBA, right? So we really got to see what these guys can do. Got to give him some time. To say all VJ can do is dunk, Robbie, that's definitely a bit of a stretch. He can do more than just run and dunk the ball, but has to develop the shot, develop the hand a little bit. Well, I'll tell you what, Sixers fans will love the way he plays defense, so at the very, very least.
Guess who's calling the shots for the Jazz, too, who selected Ace Bailey?
Who?
Danny Ainge.
Oh, yeah.
Guess who fleeced the Sixers in that trade up for Philadelphia when they gave up an additional first-rounder in the Markelle Fultz saga? Danny Ainge. Yep. Danny Ainge takes Ace Bailey.
So we'll see what he does in Utah. He'll put up good numbers probably, but will it ever amount to anything? We'll see. Wizards then. Going Tre Johnson.
Wow, Tre Johnson to Washington. They were hoping for Ace Bailey at number 6.
For sure.
But Danny Ainge says, you know what? We don't care if you don't want to go to Utah. We're picking you anyway. Look at my track record of what I did in Boston. Running a great organization. We're going to do the same with Utah.
Makes sense for a team like Utah because they don't have any pressure to win right now.
Yep.
So if he's not good right away, who cares, you know? Doesn't matter. I like the Tre Johnson pick for Washington. Tre Johnson is a guy who, honestly, to me, is kind of similar to Ace Bailey in a lot of ways, just a lot smaller. He's obviously a guard. Ace Bailey's a wing. Tre Johnson's another guy who was a tremendous shot maker. He led the SEC in scoring as a true freshman. I'll say that again. He led the SEC, which this year the SEC was one of the most dominant conferences we have ever seen in college basketball. Led the SEC in scoring as a true freshman. He is a tremendous jump shooter. Now, he does struggle getting to the rim, and he does struggle getting to the free throw line, which is why pre-draft I talked about I don't want Tre Johnson. You cannot draft him because as great of a scorer as he was in college, in the NBA, if you want to be a great scorer, you got to do more than just hit jump shots, right? The best scorers in the NBA can do it on all three levels. And Tre Johnson, a tremendous three-point shooter, right? He'll have that down from the jump. And he's a very good mid-range shooter as well. But if you can't really attack the basket, he's a little bit slight, so he can get knocked off his spot a little bit. He's also a liability defensively. And again, we're talking about guys getting played off the floor. Like, he really just does not have it on the defensive end of the floor. And there's some questions about his playmaking ability as well. Again, similar to Ace Bailey. So, kind of similar players to me, although different positions, I guess you could say. But for a team like Washington, who desperately needs scoring, I like what they're doing over there, man. They have Alex Sarr.
Yep.
They have Bilal Coulibaly. They just traded away Jordan Poole. So, Tre Johnson now can kind of take over that role of that lead scoring guard for them. I think a good situation for him. And a good situation for the Wizards who need a player like this who can put up a ton of points. So, good landing spot for him. I like this for Washington as well.
Good stuff, Chip. Chip knows ball. Grade the pick of Tre Johnson of Washington. A, B, C, D, or F. We have Fears coming in with the 7th overall pick. I just saw that as well.
Jeremiah Fears going to the Pelicans. Man, I'm a little iffy on Jeremiah Fears. He just has so much he has to work on to end up getting the type of player you hope he can be. And, I said earlier, it reminds me a little bit of Tyrese Maxey.
Okay.
When he was coming out in terms of like extremely quick player with the ball in his hands. He's going to be able to blow by guys because of how fast he is when he has the ball. He's got a very, very good handle as well, a very crafty handle. I heard him say earlier today he was getting interviewed. I think it was Danny Green, actually, was on the set talking to Jeremiah Fears. He said he watches a lot and models his game a lot after Kyrie Irving, and he is shifty like that, and he does have the handle like that. And he's very good at getting to the rim, but didn't shoot it well when he got to the rim, and didn't shoot it well from the outside either. I believe, he shot 28% from 3 this past year in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
It's obviously not going to cut it in the NBA. If you want to be a lead guard and a star guard for a team, you just have to be able to shoot the 3. And that's why Tyrese Maxey has been able to develop in the player he is. Because coming out, people were like really questioning his jump shot, and it was
really
a fair question. But yeah, man, he developed that jump shot, and he turned into a good player. So can he do that? Other thing with Fears, just really bad defender. Really bad defender, and I don't think he'll ever be a good defender. So that makes things tough for his prospects, but very intriguing offensive skill set for sure. Pelicans just traded away C.J. McCollum. They did bring in Jordan Poole, so we'll see.
Yeah.
It's a weird team.
They're going to be chucking up a lot of shots.
It's a weird team they got over there, man.
Fears is the first Oklahoma player drafted, by the way, since Tre Young in 2018. It's been a little while for
really
the Sooners to get a player drafted. Yeah.
Wow.
So 7 picks in. We can recap those selections thus far. Cooper Flagg, number 1 overall to Dallas. Dylan Harper, number 2 overall to the Spurs. Sixers go VJ Edgecombe. Kon Knueppel to the Hornets at number 4. Those are the first 4 picks. Knueppel really the only surprise. Ace Bailey, number 5 to Utah. Tre Johnson, 6th to Washington. And then Jeremiah Fears, 7th to the New Orleans Pelicans.
Oh, that short is hot. 400 views in 10 minutes.
Let's go.
All right, 7 picks in. Curious, what is everybody's favorite pick so far? Outside of you could say the Sixers if you want, if you think that's truly has been the best pick of the night, if you're that big of a fan of VJ Edgecombe. What has been the best pick so far? And don't say Cooper Flagg, okay? Don't say Cooper Flagg. He was the obvious number 1 guy, all right? I don't want to hear Cooper Flagg. B-Doc. Who should the Sixers take tomorrow? Do you like Chaz Lanier or another name that we keep bringing up, Yannick Konen-Niederhauser?
Everybody likes those
Everyone
guys.
likes the Penn State big, man. Everyone likes the Penn State big. I'm just going to call him YKN. That's what I started calling him on the show because I can't keep saying Yannick Konen-Niederhauser every time. But I do like YKN, B-Doc, very athletic center. Reminds me a lot of Adem Bona. If he's there at 35, I think he could be the pick. Won't do much outside of running the floor hard, dunking the ball, protecting the rim, but look, you don't need a whole lot else from your center, especially a backup developmental center. Even if he is a little similar to someone like Adem Bona, you bring up Chaz Lanier. I doubt they go another guard, honestly, at 6'3". out of Tennessee, but a little bit of a different skill set. He is an elite three-point shooter. 98th percentile in three-point shots made last season. 15 games with 4 or more three-pointers made for Tennessee.
Sheesh.
He can be a secondary ball handler. But outside of that, what else is he going to do besides shoot? Now, look, if you can shoot, you have a spot in the NBA. There's no doubt about that.
No doubt.
But not a great defender. Not a great finisher. Interesting note here from our draft expert, Nick Roloff. Got benched at one point by Rick Barnes this year for, quote, not doing what he is paid to do. That's crazy to say in college.
Now getting paid. Now getting paid.
Did also register a 39-inch max vert, second best among all shooting guards. Compared him to Tim Hardaway Jr., which, yeah, for a second-round pick, you'll take a Tim Hardaway Jr.
Yeah, you'll take that. Austin Ainge, son of Danny Ainge, saying that the Jazz really like Ace Bailey as a player and a fit in that Jazz program. I'm seeing that the Brooklyn Nets going to select Igor Demin with the 8th overall pick.
Yeah, it's Yegor. Sorry, I said that earlier, yeah.
Yegor Demin. Bad job by me.
Man, they went Yegor Demin. That's who was left? Because I know he was getting some buzz about being a riser, maybe going top 10. But if you take a look at who was left, I'm surprised they went Yegor Demin over Khaman Maluach.
Okay.
Now, he was Rolly's third best player available. Kasparis Yakachonis, I know Rolly was very high on him. Very split among other NBA circles. He did turn the ball over a lot. I thought they would have gotten Maluach, honestly, with talk about them moving on from Nick Claxton, but Demin's an interesting player. We could talk about him here.
That BYU program, they are spending big, both with their football program and basketball program. Former Sixers assistant under Brett Brown is the head coach of that program right now. Elite passer with this athletic profile, Igor Demin. Has the height to make any pass. Really good basketball IQ. Allows him to fill a couple of different positional roles, so he has versatility to his arsenal as well. Not a lot of optimism, though, in his shooting ability. That's one of the knocks on him. 10.5 points per game last year for BYU. 5.5 assists. More than a steal per night. Only 41.2% from the field as a shooter. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Demin, by the way, growing up in Moscow before making his way to America to continue his basketball dreams. Hit that sub button.
Let's go.
530 people away from 23,000 subscribers. We're live here for the 2025 NBA Draft. Thanks for being here with us.
Also on Demin here, pretty widely regarded as the best passer in the class. I guess it does make sense when you think about him next to a Cam Thomas who's just going to chuck up shots. You want more of a true point guard, and that's what Demin is going to be for them. But, Chase mentioned not a shooter. He shot 27% from 3 at BYU this year, 69% from the line.
Brutal.
Compared to Josh Giddey, which makes a lot of sense, a guy who obviously a great playmaker, a great distributor of the basketball, but there's a reason the Thunder traded Josh Giddey away and then won a championship the next year.
Yep.
It's tough in today's NBA when you're a guard who can't shoot, man. It's just really, really tough, and that's why I'm surprised they went this route this early. And it's not like, some guys you can say, oh, they didn't shoot well from 3 in college, but they have good form. They had a good free throw number. Only 69% from the line, man. And he's not a good athlete either, so he's not blowing by guys.
No. Yeah, weird pick for the Nets.
But, I get it, with the playmaking, the vision, a very good passer for sure. Josh Giddey's a good NBA player, right? But is capped with that lack of shooting ability. 6'8", though. I mean, great size. Great size.
Not a good history of BYU players being selected in the top 10. Sean Bradley at 2. Rafael Arahu at 8. Never even heard of him.
I'd be lying if I said I knew who he was. All right, Sixers made their pick already, obviously, but still plenty of picks to be made. I want to see if we can get a little wild here in the night show. Can we have some fun, baby?
Yeah,
Can
let's
we have
plug
some
our
fun?
Super Chat menu again. We are at $40 at Super Chats. We had a couple of 20s come in. All Super Chats get a shout-out. $5 beer cheers. $10, we'll talk about any team, any player who you want us to talk about. $20, chips taking shots. $50, beer bong or a shotgun. That right there is our Super Chat menu. It's pretty much like setting a tip to a bartender, but the YouTube version of that. Shane Butler, love the VJ pick, but I would like to trade up to get the center from Duke. That's just too far of a trade up. Maluach is going to go probably in the lottery.
I'd be shocked if he's not this pick right here at Toronto.
Yeah. Toronto here at 9, Houston at 10, Portland at 11.
We got going on in the chat. Mike Race, I'm good with VJ. Shane Butler, I'm so happy about the VJ pick. Love VJ. Yeah, he mentioned the trade up. B-Doc, what about Ryan Kalkbrenner from Creighton? Yeah, look, we'll talk before the second round starts tomorrow, obviously. We'll go through some second round targets, so if he's still there's some speculation he could go into the first round. But I do like Kalkbrenner a lot. Should be a good defender at that center spot.
So Kevin Young is the head coach of BYU, just signed an extension. He was an assistant under Brett Brown. And he said outside of Dylan Harper and Cooper Flagg, Yegor Demon has the most upside of any player in this draft.
Wow.
That's lofty praise.
I get it with the size and the skill set, being 6'8" and a primary ball handler with his passing and vision, but people were saying that about Josh Giddey too, and he never developed the shot.
Yeah.
So theoretically, yeah, if he becomes a really good shooter, I mean, that's a demon.
Yeah.
6'8", guard-like handles, can shoot, but man, just a lot of unknowns. There's a lot of these guys.
Ben Simmons, two players who can put their imprint on the game in so many ways. Can't shoot.
Just holds him back.
Can't shoot. Just holds him back. Holds them back from that potential. Some guys just don't have it. In the case of Ben Simmons, just never worked on it. Shane Butler said, I just need a good pick tomorrow.
Yeah, 35's a high second-round pick. So.
You can get a quality player there. Did the Sixers not take Ace Bailey because they like Justin Edwards? Is Jeff Teague right?
Hey, maybe.
30 subs away from 22,500. If you want elite Sixers coverage year-round, lock us in. Hit that sub button. Maluach, let's see if he goes here to Toronto.
I would imagine that's a pick for them.
Chip likes that fit. Got Raptors, Rockets, Blazers, Bulls, Hawks coming up.
Raptors are an interesting team, man. Scotty Barnes obviously there, R.J. Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly, Jakob Poeltl. They got some decent players. 11th in the East. They traded for Brandon Ingram. But just struggle to put it all together with this core. I think they got to get rid of R.J. Barrett.
A reminder. Man, they just traded for R.J. Barrett. Think they got to get rid of him already?
Send him out, man. You got Scotty Barnes. You got Brandon Ingram. Those are your two wings to me.
Yeah.
You don't need RJ.
A reminder for this 10th pick after the Raptors at 9. We have it right. It's Phoenix's pick. If you're watching visually the NBA draft coverage, ESPN, for instance, still has it as Houston's pick. The drafted player is going to be wearing a Houston hat, despite all of us knowing that he's going to Phoenix. So don't be caught off guard by that. Number 10, it is the Suns' pick as part of that Kevin Durant trade.
Real dreamers change the world. Do you think Paul George will make a resurgence this season?
Better.
Yeah, he has to, man. It'll be hard to be as bad as he was last year. We're going to find out pretty quickly if it really was the injuries or if he's really just cooked. I'm hoping it was just the injuries and he's not actually cooked, but also, what's to say he won't just get injured again because he's getting up there in age. I wouldn't bet on it, to be honest.
Here are the Raptors at number 9. Colin Murray Boyles out of South Carolina.
Interesting.
This was a top 10 player on Jay Billis's big board. I don't think he was a top 10 player on Rolly's big board, though.
Yeah, we won't be able to see now. Actually, no, we will be able to see now. Let's see where Rolly had him on the big board. An interesting player. Another guy with some offensive limitations, though.
Yeah.
But does a lot of the other things well. So.
Yeah, good size for Colin Murray Boyles. Only 20 years old, 6'6.5", 239 pounds. Last year for the Gamecocks, 16.8 points per, 8.3 rebounds, connected on nearly 59% of his shots. Very elite defensive prospect. Really good blend of physicality, foot speed, and awareness. Solid finisher in the interior. Has a knack for being in the right spot at the right time to haul down some rebounds. Still a liability as a shooter right now. The field goal percentage was good. Not a lot of those shots were taken from the outside, as Murray Boyles just doesn't have a lot of comfortability shooting from long range. But 16.8 points per game, 8 rebounds, that shows you good rebounder. That's really his most efficient skill. He's an efficient scorer. And the block numbers, steals numbers, very good. Switchable defender, can guard multiple positions. More than a block per game and a steal and a half per game. This kind of fits a Masai Ujiri type of selection.
Yeah. This is another guy that
he's a lefty too.
Prior to the lottery, there were in trade down talks. There were some Sixers fans who were interested in Colin Murray Boyles. And look, if he does improve that perimeter shooting, another guy who, with his defensive tools, he got some Draymond Green comparisons.
Interesting.
Pound for pound, best defender in the draft, can guard 3 through 5. Kind of one of those guys where, like, every championship team needs a guy like this.
Yeah. Who
isn't going to be high maintenance offensively and might have his struggles there at some times.
Just fits in.
But, yeah, just fits in very well defensively, man.
Rebounds, can play defense.
Yeah, horrendous shooter, though, as put by our Nick Roloff.
You got that right. So this next pick, again, going to be Phoenix, not Houston. What I don't get, ESPN is talking about how this is going to be Phoenix's pick, yet their graphics show it's Houston. We're doing it the right way. We have Phoenix on the clock here at number 10. But then you'll see the player walk onto the stage with the Rockets hat.
Never play a game for them. Never play a game for them.
Idiotic.
If you've been living under a rock, you didn't know. Kevin Durant is a Houston Rocket.
Yes, he is.
These are the trade details.
Rockets getting Durant. Suns getting Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, who I thought was a perfect Ime Udoka player. Toughness, defense, swagger, no fear. But he goes to Phoenix. That's been a soft team of late. So maybe Brooks can help in that regard. The Suns also get this selection here at number 10 and 5 second-round picks.
Let's see. I'm going to try to call my shot here for Phoenix.
Durant now going to be on his 5th team in his NBA career. Yeah, call your shot for Phoenix here.
Let's see. So best guys left. I don't think they're going to go with Jonas. I could see Maluach for sure. I could see Carter Bryant. Derek Queen, another center prospect who should go in the lottery. Same with Thomas Sorber, Rasheer Fleming, Nick Clifford, Cedric Howard, some of the best guys left. I'm definitely looking at this group of 4 here. Man. I would go Khaman Maluach. I think they're going to go Maluach. If it's not Maluach, it'll be Carter Bryant. I think Phoenix should go with Maluach. I'm a little surprised he's still here at 10. I mean, he's a guy who had some buzz to Charlotte at 4.
Maluach. That's the pick.
That's the pick? Let's
According
go.
to Michael Scotto.
They needed a center so bad, and it just made too much sense. This is a great pick for Phoenix, man.
Yeah, I like this pick for them too. They badly needed a player like this. Still pretty raw from what I saw at Duke last year.
For sure.
A lot of potential, though, as a big. Charlotte Hornets are trading Mark Williams to the Suns for the 29th pick tonight.
Whoa.
And a 2029 first-round pick.
Wow. Double center
so the
action.
Suns go double up on the bigs.
Wow.
Maluach from South Sudan, still only 18 years old. A lot of room to grow. Nearly 7'1", weighed in the pre-draft at almost 253 pounds. Last year for Duke, 21.3 minutes per game, 8.5 points per game, 6.5 rebounds, 71.2% from the field. We're talking about a player here who just has a massive frame, moves very well for his size, elite rim protector, very good as an interior finisher and rebounder, raw, inexperienced basketball player. So with this awareness, sometimes it's lacking. With decision-making, sometimes he can cough up the rock. Overall offensive potential, lob guy doesn't have a lot of moves. But with the Suns, right on cue, trading for Mark Williams, he becomes your starting center. And then Maluach can be your developmental backup. Because the Hornets are getting a first-round pick at 2029.
Man.
And a first-round pick this year. Mark Williams going for 2 second-rounders.
You'll take that if you're the Hornets, especially after they try to trade Mark Williams to the Lakers. If you remember that at the deadline, that fell through.
15-10 last year for Mark Williams.
Yeah, I like that a lot. You mentioned Mark Williams can be your guy. Mark Williams is still young, by the way, too, so
yep.
He's still getting better, but he can be your guy now. Maluach, a very intriguing player, man. Because as Chase mentioned, he's still so raw. He hasn't been playing basketball for all that long. And I don't think got to show fully what he was capable of at Duke. You know, a lot of people talk about what he was able to show prior to his time at Duke. Had a lot more flashes offensively. You know, playing internationally, playing in the NBA academy. Like, he showed signs of a post game. He showed signs of a three-point shot, but was just not asked to do that at Duke. So if he can show that, some people are saying he could be. This is going to sound crazy. Some people are saying he could be almost a Joel Embiid kind of player. Now, that's a far ways away. And even Embiid, who was super raw and hadn't played a lot of basketball, was further along offensively than Maluach is.
Yeah.
But has all the tools, man, that you look for. The size, the athleticism. Wasn't a great rebounder, which is a little bit strange, but he was also asked to guard on the perimeter a lot at Duke.
So this 2029 first rounder in this Mark Williams trade, least favorable of Cleveland, Utah, and Minnesota, 1 through 5 protected.
Okay, so not just straight up.
Yeah, exactly. Size a problem for the Suns last year. They address it in a big way, literally. Williams, Maluach, and the Hornets get 2 first rounders. According to John Clark, it's his understanding that Tyrese Maxey flew in from out of town to be at the Sixers practice facility for VJ Edgecombe's workout with the team.
Wow.
Sixers wanted another set of eyes.
Seems like he just made a great impression in person, man.
Yeah.
Even despite not having a good workout. Sometimes that's all it takes, man. Sixers do, at least Daryl Morey, in his tenure, does tend to go with higher character guys. Maxey, McCain, Bona, all guys that are hard workers.
Yeah.
Passionate about the game. Justin Edwards. It's just the direction he's tend to go in, so. Watch. With all the Rockets graphics, what a joke. And they're talking about him on the Suns, obviously.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It just, the NBA just has to do a better job.
All right, that's your top 10. Maluach rounding out the top 10. Portland, Chicago, Atlanta. And then we get the Spurs again and OKC. Also, by the way, coming into this draft, all the talk was there's going to be a lot of movement, going to be a lot of trades. We really haven't seen any, besides the one we just got.
None yet in the lottery.
No.
Portland at 11, followed by Chicago, Atlanta, San Antonio, and OKC. San Antonio will be the final pick of the lottery. That's the top 14 picks. And then the NBA champion Oklahoma City Thunder, they're at 15.
Real dreamers, even talent matters too. Jared, Tyrese, and VJ represent a high character backcourt. Yeah, no doubt about that, man. Oh, even though talent matters, yeah. And look, all these guys are talented as well. But yeah, no doubt. McCain, Maxey, VJ, all very high character guys.
Man, Walter Clayton Jr., 9th best player on Jay Billis's board. A lot of people have him as a second-round pick.
I know Rolly was in shambles that he's going to be the pick for Miami.
Yeah.
A lot of chatter there. Obviously had a legendary run in March Madness, but I don't love him as an NBA player. Maluach is real emotional. That's 3 guys in the top 10 for Duke.
Yep. Very good team. Deep NCAA tournament run, of course.
That's what happens. That is what happens. By the way, for those of you who are big VJ Edgecombe fans, you think he's going to be good for this team, you can go get your jerseys right now.
Yes, sir.
They are available through our friends at Fanatics. I'm throwing the link in there right now. Click on that link. It'll take you there. It says number 00 right now. He's not going to wear 00. Whenever he picks his number, it'll be that number. Depending on what number he picks, I might pick up that jersey. Can't lie.
Yeah,
I love this
what number
pick.
He gets.
Wait. So we actually do have another trade.
Another trade?
Portland is sending number 11 to the Memphis Grizzlies, who are now on the clock.
Okay.
So trade alert there.
So Grizzlies trade away Desmond Bane. Now they move up and make a trade with Portland. Portland this week trading for Drew Holiday.
B-Doc, Kevin Durant will not be playing with Maluach. Maluach is a Sun. He is not a Rocket. Don't get confused by ESPN. Khaman Maluach will not be on the Rockets. He will be a Phoenix Sun.
Yes. We tried to clarify that for everybody.
Bet, lifelong Sixer fan here to say Edgecombe is a bum, will never average 17 in this league. Mark my words. Look, I don't think he has to average 17 to be considered not a bum. But we certainly will see, man.
Cedric Coward being selected here at number 11, but this is going to go to Memphis. You said you like this pick?
I do like this pick.
Okay.
It's risky. This is a guy in Cedric Coward who's a very, very late riser.
Okay.
He played, let me double check how many games he played this year, because he was at Eastern Washington for 2 years. Transferred to Washington State. He played 6 games this year for Washington State.
Shoulder injury.
Season-ending injury. Now, he showed enough in these games that he actually entered the portal and was going to go to Duke. Duke wanted Cedric Coward. And Cedric Coward said, nah, I'm going to the draft. And here he is, the 11th overall pick. And for a team like Memphis that traded away Desmond Bane, I think Coward can slide very nicely in to their starting 2-guard spot. I really like this pick for Memphis, but it is risky because of obviously the lack of production, not playing a lot, and also lack of competition playing his first 2 years at Eastern Washington. This is kind of as early as I would have thought for him.
Yeah. 6'5" and a quarter, 213 pounds, 38.5 inch on the max vert. 3-and-D prospect. Can block shots. Defend a couple of different positions. Good physical profile with length, frame. Because of that, able to absorb some contact. Smart player. Sets his teammates up well. Does some of the little things. So glue guy potential here. Just needs to get a little bit bigger, but sometimes with that size that he already has, he can absorb some contact. Again, did not play much in 2024-2025 because of a shoulder injury, but almost 18 points per game, 7 rebounds. Almost 56% from the field, what you love to see there. Again, limited workload. 40% from 3, but the stroke is very clean. Pause from deep. So from D3 to Eastern Washington to Washington State. What a rise. And then he becomes a lottery pick.
Man.
He did commit to Duke, but then remained in the draft. What a path. Green Blaze, the Fly Eagle. Thank you so much for the super chat. Chase, I'm with you. I wanted Tre Johnson, the best shooter in this draft, and we got a kid who can only dunk the ball with no real jumper. F. Daryl Morey. Those are my concerns. Love the character. Love the defense. Love the athleticism. But can you shoot? Can you create? Those are the two areas that will decide how good VJ Edgecombe is as a player.
Cedric Coward tied for the highest drafted player from Washington State. Klay Thompson was also number 11. But, yeah, man. Articular cartilage tear, jagged rotator cuff, partially torn labrum. Doesn't sound good.
No, not great.
I'll tell you that. But the athleticism, the length. This is kind of like your typical modern 3-and-D wing that all NBA teams covet, right? And he can move well in the flow of the offense. He'll be a very high-level defender. Was a very good shooter. Can be a secondary ball handler as well, but level of competition concerns for Cedric Coward. And, of course, the injury. Our draft expert, Nick Roloff, compares him to Jalen Williams, who obviously just won an NBA championship with the OKC Thunder. So that's very, very high praise.
Glad that you're hanging out here with us on 76ers Now, because Malika Andrews just called Cedric Coward Colin Coward live on ESPN.
No, she didn't. I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
I
and
missed
then that's after SportsCenter was like, here's a look At Cooper Flagg, it was Ace Bailey.
Oh, man. I appreciate that $5 super chat, Green Blaze. If you want to send in a super chat, again, like a tip, like a donation to us, your super chats do go a long way. And for every amount that comes in, we'll do a little something. So a $5 super chat, that is a beer. Cheers. I'll take a swig of my Happy Dad here. Of course, anyone who sends in a super chat, will show it on screen. We'll react to your question, your comment, your hot take, whatever it is. We'll give you a shout out. You send in $10. You want to ask about a prospect or ask about a team, you can certainly do that, and we'll talk about anything you want to talk about. $20, I got some vodka here with me. It's NBA draft night. Let's get wild, baby.
Let's go.
I'll take down some shots. And if someone sends in a $50 super chat, I got a whole case of Happy Dads here. I'm down to clown. I'm down to take down a shotgun for a 50. So that's our super chat menu.
Shotguns for 50? Come on now.
Come on now. The bosses don't want us getting too tipsy on the air, but you know what I'm saying? If the people want it, the people want it.
We've been having some interesting conversations about interesting draft factoids. This one might blow your mind. North Carolina has not produced a top 5 pick in 20 years or an NBA All-Star since Vince Carter in 2007. That's nuts. The best UNC player in the NBA today is who? Kobe White, Cam Johnson, Harrison Barnes?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's nuts.
You wouldn't think that, given all the success that program has had.
This is pretty big. Some Sixers news here.
Let's hear it.
So I guess Daryl Morey, speaking to the media right now, had a couple things to say. One, super excited about VJ Edgecombe, dynamic athlete. He calls him a potential all-star, two-way player, got all these winning qualities we think really fit, a great teammate. Is definitely, sort of that winning kind of player. But also, Morey talking about Joel Embiid. Embiid had this surgery almost 2 months ago, I think, at this point.
Yep.
And when he had the surgery, we were told we were going to get an update after 6 weeks.
Right? Yep.
Never happened.
It's been 8.
Never happened.
Yeah.
So, but now Morey's saying Embiid is, quote, and again, this doesn't mean a whole lot because they say this all the time. Embiid, quote, very engaged in his rehab, expected to be ready right around training camp. So that's the latest update we got on Joel Embiid. Does that mean anything? Honestly, I don't know if it does.
Okay.
But Embiid apparently engaged in the rehab, supposed to be ready around training camp. Back to some draft news. So the Bulls made their selection at 12, and I'm glad the Bulls went this direction because they took a shot for upside here, which they need to do. They've been stuck in the mud for way too long. They go Noah Asenge here. Noah Asenge plays over in Germany. His team's in the German League final right now.
He
left to come to the draft. Oh, well, some of the Bulls fans at the draft don't like
are in
it.
shambles.
They don't like the pick. I actually like this pick. I like this pick.
Why do you like it?
He's 6'9", so he's 6'9" without shoes. He's close to like 6'10", 6'11" when he's out there on the floor, and he has all the tools defensively. He can handle the rock as a wing player who can really run in transition, push the ball in transition. He's a good passer. He's young, he's athletic, and he has tools, and he has upside, especially if he can put the shot together. Another guy, 29% from 3, right? So not a very good shooter.
18 years old.
But you watch him play, man, as we'll see some highlights right here at his size.
Can he get back to Germany for the playoffs?
Huh?
Can he get back to Germany for the playoffs?
I don't know. We'll see.
Becomes a lottery pick.
Yeah, there's
youngest player in the draft behind Cooper Flagg.
some NBA draft experts that I follow. One in particular, his name is Rafael Barlow. Really high on Noah Senge and what he can do, and I value his opinion. And an upside pick here for sure for the Bulls, and I like it. But as I mentioned, we did have a trade go down, so now we're starting to see some trades fly in out of nowhere.
Another trade. See, this is where Shams is good. I don't need to hear him during halftime of the NBA Finals, but when you're breaking news, that's great.
Bang. Yeah, so we had this one first.
Okay, so this was that Grizzlies-Blazers trade where the Grizzlies moved up to number 11. Blazers get 16, 2028 first. I imagine that'll be protected. 2 second-round picks. Another trade that we just got, Pelicans receiving the 13th pick from Atlanta. Atlanta moves back to 23, and they get the Pelicans 2026 first. That has to be protected because I don't think the Pelicans are going to be any good either.
So Pelicans took Fears earlier at number 6. They move up here at number 13. Clearly somebody they want here, and we actually do have that pick in at number 13 for New Orleans. It's going to be Derek Queen, the big man out of Maryland.
Derek Queen. Some Sixers fans wanted Philly to take him at 3. It was way too early. Older freshman, 20 years old. 6'9" and a quarter, so not a 7-footer. Almost 250 pounds last year for Maryland, another team that made a good run in the NCAA tournament. Their coach, now the coach of Villanova, for those of you who love Philly hoops. 16.5 points per game, 9 rebounds, 52.5% from the field. He's really talented finishing with touch with both hands and from a couple of different looks. Has some shooting potential, along with success on some floaters, fadeaways. That's the touch there. Tweener athletic profile. His effort, it can fluctuate. Good numbers last year. Active rebounder. With that size, he can block some shots. Solid efficiency there at 52.5%. And he goes to New Orleans here after the Hawks trade back. So 2 trades with the last few picks here that we've seen. With the Grizzlies trading up, the Pelicans trading up.
Yeah, I like this for the Pelicans. There was talk of Queen going earlier potentially, but he falls a little bit here to 13. Very unique player because he can handle the ball as a big man. Some people want to compare him to Alperen Sengun. And he's got a ways to go before he becomes a Sengun level player who's obviously developed really nicely for the Rockets. But he's got a handle for a big guy. He can legitimately bring the ball up the floor for you. And is a very good passer out of the post and has a good post game, but he's just not a good athlete, like at all.
No.
Which limits him.
He's not twitchy by any means.
No, not at all. He's not a good defender, which turned some teams off. Now, he did average over a block a game, so, he's able to make a little bit of an impact there, but, a lot of teams want their center to be a true rim protector. He's definitely not that. He can ball watch a lot. And if he can get this shot to fall, because he did show signs of being able to shoot from the extended mid-range, that'll really open up his game a lot. But if he's not able to get that shot down, definitely a little concerning, but a unique skill set, right? A guy that, you don't see all the time. A big man who, he might not be a true 7-footer, but he's still a bigger guy with a good handle. Has a post game, so we'll see. We'll see. Rolly says he's an off-brand Alperen Sengun. Walmart Alperen Sengun, so Yeah, so this pick's gone to New Orleans.
Yeah, so this pick to New Orleans.
Imagine just like watching this, not knowing. Like you just have no
Oh,
idea.
yeah. And it's crazy, like the NBA has such an easy ability to just make easy changes to make the product better. And they just don't.
Demet Walker, why can't our GM have kahunas like Danny Ainge? Should have taken AB just like Ainge didn't care. I think so too. I think so too. But if it didn't work out this year and Bailey didn't make an impact, Morey might have been fired if they weren't good. So he kind of was put into a corner in his mind. Which, it might not be the best thing for the team long term, but that's what he had to do to save his job. I suppose that was his mindset. Robert Downs, yeah, Rafael Barlow, excellent follow for NBA prospects and for basketball. Yeah, he's great. I just found him this past year, actually.
Who's that?
Rafael Barlow. So he's a scout who's kind of does his own thing. He's kind of independent.
Okay.
But I found him this year, and he really deep dive into the scouting stuff. He
kind of like what was that, Michael Schmidt, a couple years ago from
name.
ESPN. He's now with like the Blazers front office.
But that's Barlow's goal too. He wants to be a scout for a team, but like he does a lot of in-person scouting. He's a great international scout. He travels all over, going and watching these prospects, and he has some great write-ups on these guys. So when he says he likes somebody or he has somebody higher in certain aspects, like I do tend to trust him. He does a lot of good work and knows his stuff. Obviously, at the end of the day, it's also just his opinion, just like we all have our own opinions.
Right.
So you don't just take what someone says to 100% be the truth.
Spurs on the clock now, final pick of the lottery. And I'm not sure we'll stay live for the entire first round, but we'll round out the lottery with this pick here.
Yep. We're up to 22,477 subscribers. If you're hanging out here and you're not subscribed, I encourage you to hit that sub button, baby. We're trying to reach 22,500 before we sign off. Sixers coverage all year long. It's completely free. Completely free. All you got to do is hit that sub button. We'll be live for tomorrow night for the Sixers second round pick as well. We'll be live for free agency. Our live show last year for free agency when the Sixers signed Paul George. I don't know if anyone here was there for the Paul George live stream last year. Obviously, the signing didn't turn out great, but the live show was electric.
8 or 9 hours live?
The live show was electric. We were live until, 2 a.m. Eastern?
I think it was about that time, yeah.
So you won't be disappointed, I promise. Appreciate it, B-Doc.
Wow, Jonathan Gavoni saying Utah was not one of Ace Bailey's preferred destinations. Was hoping to get to either Washington, New Orleans, or Brooklyn.
They just took him, man.
That's what happens when you act like a clown in the pre-draft. If you just talk about basketball situation, I do think it's a good basketball situation.
Yeah.
For Ace Bailey. Going to Danny Ainge. They just locked up their coach on an extension. Rolly saying if the Heat were smart, they should trade up for Kasparis Yakachunas. That's his guy.
Huh. I don't know if I missed this or if Dennis Scott is on a different broadcast. But once again, the whole NBA thing, Dennis Scott was on the call talking about Kevin Durant and Maluach playing together in Houston. It's so dumb. They're not going to play together.
It's horrible. Carter Bryant out of Arizona going to the Spurs here at 14. Final pick in the lottery.
There we go. I like this pick too.
It's Carter Bryant. Chip likes it. 19-year-old freshman. 6'6.5". 214 plus pounds last year. Before Arizona lost to Duke in the tournament, was having a good campaign. 19.3 minutes per game. Only 6.5 points, 4 rebounds, 37% from three-point range. A little bit of a projection here. He didn't play a ton for Arizona, but he could shoot it. Really good defender, NBA-ready blend of athleticism and length. Good recovery ability, great hustle. Can't really create in the half court, but does have a solid feel as a connecting passer. Think hockey assist there for that terminology. Number 20 recruit in ESPN's 100 back in 2024.
This guy I know we're always really high on.
Yeah, why do you like him, Chip?
So again, it's kind of similar to I'm talking about all these 3-and-D wings. Right? We keep talking about it. Cedric Coward was another player that went to Memphis that I talked about. It's very, very similar with Carter Bryant. And look, the numbers, obviously, look at it. 6 points, 4 rebounds. Didn't even play 20 minutes a game. You're like, this guy is a lottery pick in the NBA, right? But again, it's the tools. It's the intangibles. It's the things that you look at when he plays that you think project well in the NBA. It's the same reason that guys who put up big numbers in college, right? You're not just going to say they're guaranteed to be studs just because they were really good in college, right? Same thing for some of these guys, right? He has the frame, 6'6" without shoes, 6'11" wingspan. So you'd love to see that out of a guy along that wing spot. Defensively, he already has it all. So you're seeing a lot of these guys. You lump like VJ Edgecombe into this, the defensive end of the floor. If you're already really good there, you can just focus on the development of the offense, which I think a lot of NBA front offices think they can develop more easily than turning a guy who's a bad defender into a good defender, right? If you're already a good defender, you can already get out there and play. So someone like him, the offense needs to come along. And he's already shown, to be a good standstill three-point shooter. I think he shot, 46% from the left corner, 43% from the right.
Okay.
So, one of those kind of guys. Not someone that I think is going to end up being a high-end all-star level guy, right? But a very high-end role player who will impact winning at the highest of levels.
What do you think about this player count from Marsh? Derek Queen equals Julius Randle.
Oh.
Randle could shoot a little bit at Kentucky, though.
So, yeah. Obviously, and as he's developed in the NBA, Randle's become a very good perimeter player. I think that comp, it's made because they're built very similar. They're kind of bowling balls in a way, right? Where they play like very downhill. They can both handle the ball as bigger guys. But Randle, even coming out, Randle could shoot the ball a little bit better. And, of course, now Randle's a very good shooter. Even if he's not efficient all the time, he'll put up a lot of shots. Certainly, I could see that path for someone like Derek Queen. That's definitely interesting. I don't mind that comp. Don't mind that comp at all. All right, we're showing you these picks on screen, flashing them up at the top. What has been the best pick so far? What has been the best pick so far? Could be the Sixers. Going with VJ. Could be someone else. Pope says Derek Queen's a new Jahlil Okafor. Fall out of bed 20 and 10. Look, if Jahlil Okafor played in the 80s.
Process Sixer right there.
Okafor in the 80s would have been an all-star. Okafor now, no. I get what you're saying, though. Okafor, obviously had that post game. Not a good defender, similar to Derek Queen. I think Queen's a better ball handler, better passer, better vision than someone like Okafor. But I do see what you're saying. Like the 20 and 10, like Derek Queen's going to be able to score inside. He's going to rebound the ball. So I don't hate that. I don't hate that. Maybe like a mix of like an Okafor and a Randle. He does have that post bag. He does. Also, there's this little Derek Queen to me. Just like looking at all these prospects, a lot of them look young. Obviously, he looks the youngest to me out of all the guys here. You look at him, I'm like, dude, Derek Queen looks like 17 to me.
He's wearing braces. He has braces.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is. All right, what is everyone's favorite pick so far? As we round out the lottery, baby. We round out the lottery. I like Cedric Coward to the Grizzlies. That's an aggressive pick. He might have been there at 16. I don't know if they had to trade up for him. I do like Derek Queen at 14. It didn't even process in my mind. I know I was talking about Carter Bryant being the 14th pick. It just processed to me that he went to San Antonio. That is great for them.
Great player development
Wow.
program. And good for his career because he's a little bit raw.
Him playing with Wemby, Dylan Harper, De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle. I love that pick for them.
Yeah.
It just processed me that he's going to San Antonio. Man, Spurs are going to be good.
Another super chat coming in.
Green Blaze again.
Green Blaze. Hey, we're $3 away from $50 in super chats. Can we get to 50? Daryl Morey is a liar. We know he always beats around the bush. Robbie said, need me a Quentin Grimes jersey.
Let's make sure he's back first, all right? I 90% he is, but there's a small chance he's not. Not 90% though he's back for sure. Daryl Morey's a liar. It's crazy though, like we're sitting in this moment now. This is a moment we're going to think back on maybe a year or two from now if Daryl Morey is fired or if he gets another long-term deal here. That the VJ Edgecombe pick is the pick that really decided things. Because if he misses on this pick, and VJ isn't the player they thought he would be, Morey could be canned. So We're sitting in this moment right now. This could be the moment that changes things, man. Appreciate that, Green Blaze. Legend. Couple super chats here tonight.
Green Blaze, appreciate you. The Fly Eagle. I love it. All right. We're going to give you 2 minutes to get us to $50 in super chats.
We can do it.
We're $3 away. If we get there within 2 minutes, we're going to stay live. If we don't get there within 2 minutes, we're going to sign off. Here's our super chat menu. All super chats get a shout out. $5 beer cheers. $10. Talk about any team, any player. $20 shots. $50 for a beer bong or a shotgun. I'm going to pop up the 2-minute shot clock. You got 2 minutes to keep us live. 2 minutes. Thomas Sorber, the center out of Georgetown, going to OKC.
So they go big.
They go big.
Obviously, they have Chet. They have Hartenstein.
Yep. Jalen Williams, the other Jalen Williams.
Yeah. They go another big here in Sorber.
Have to trust Sam Presti at this point.
Yeah, it's hard to go against what he thinks. They certainly could have used another shooter, I thought. Obviously, a team that won the championship, you're getting a little nitpicky, but at times their three-point shooting was pretty bad.
Yeah.
But I guess, they feel they need another big. With extensions coming up for Chet and for J-Dub, they probably can hold on to Hartenstein for very long. So this is probably, a Hartenstein long-term replacement.
He just signed there in free agency last summer.
Yeah. What is his deal looking like?
Thought they gave him some decent dough.
Oh, they definitely gave him some dough.
Yeah, the other Jalen Williams was a second-round pick out of Arkansas in 2022.
Let's see. Yeah, so Hartenstein is set to make $28.5 million this year, and then he has a team option the year after that.
Okay, interesting.
So you have to imagine they'll probably pick it up unless they really, by that time, the extensions for Chet and J-Dub will have kicked in. So maybe they're preparing to let Hartenstein walk after the end of this year.
Yeah. Lisa Chipper gets us to $10 or gets us to $50, with the $10. Thank you, Lisa. And she does it just in the nick of time. Within that 2-minute shot clock. So we'll stay live for a couple more picks here. Sorber, versatile shot blocker. And you just like how the defensive mindset fits on that OKC team, which as a team, as an organization, they have quite the defensive mindset. Do you think Walter Clayton goes first round?
I kind of think he's going to go to Miami. I kind of think he is. I don't think he should.
Where's Miami?
They're at 20.
Okay. Philly Eagles Bowl. What do you guys think of Lonnie Walker? I'm from Reading. Followed him a lot. He's a Reading legend. He's not under contract with the Sixers, right?
Team option.
Team option. Okay.
So they can bring him back if they want. I don't think they will, personally.
Yeah. They signed him from overseas.
Yeah, he started off rough. And again, this is all in the stretch where the Sixers are just losing a bunch of games and throwing a bunch of bums out there. He started off rough. He actually had a few good games, and he got hurt, unfortunately. But they need every dollar they can get. And I just don't see, especially after drafting VJ Edgecombe, I don't see how they're going to keep Lonnie Walker. Zachary, can't believe D/F doesn't have a higher grade. This is a terrible pick for the Sixers. So, yeah, looking back at our new poll question, over 500 votes, grade the pick of VJ Edgecombe, 39% A, 35% B.
Okay. But
Zachary here. Zachary, why don't you like the pick, man? Is it the offensive game for VJ? Even if you don't like it, D/F, that's kind of crazy. But let us know why. Needed a center. See, I told you, Sixers fans very split in their opinions. A lot of people did want a center. Not a lot, but there's a crowd that wanted a center.
Some people wanted Queen. We discussed that a little bit earlier.
Look, Maluach would have been perfect. I have seen the Maluach crowd in the comments, man. I have seen it. And he's a player I would have entertained if they traded down, but nah, man, not at 3. But I think they'll – I'll tell you what, Zachary, I will be upset if they don't take a center at 35. If there's a good one there and they pass on a center at 35, I'm with you. I will be upset. But that's why I'm fine with – I think they'll address that need at 35. So – we'll find out tomorrow, but I think they got to go that direction.
Hansen Yang.
Wow. This was a guy I thought the Sixers could have gotten at 35. Hansen, really?
We've seen a lot of dumb NBA teams do some dumb things tonight. Like the Pelicans giving up a first-round pick next year. What?
Do we find out, is that completely unprotected?
Not sure what the protections are, but either way, it's idiotic.
Yeah, dumb. This is a shocker. I can't believe this from Portland. What are they doing? They draft another center, a center who was projected to go in the second round. They already have, they drafted the guy from UConn last year. I'm blanking on his name right now.
Oh, yeah. Chip, I told you, dumb teams are doing dumb things.
This is unbelievable. I cannot believe this pick.
This is crazy. Hansen Yang from China.
I wonder what number he was on Rolly's big board. Yeah.
19 years old, 7'1", 252. Rolly had him as his 38th overall player. Plenty of potential in the post. Good footwork, solid package of moves, great passing feel, and chops for his size. Limited by his mobility and shooting. He's going to face a lot more talented players.
Definitely an interesting pick.
Yeah, the lack of movement as a big. Little bit of an issue.
You trade down. Good low block defender. Shot 74% at the rim. Good passer. Led the CBA in blocks, 2.7 per game. Has never tried to learn a three-point shot. Can't play in a switching defensive scheme. That is not what I want to hear. If you're a modern-day big and you can't play in a switching scheme, you are in trouble.
Yeah, not good.
Not a good mover laterally. Will have to stay in drop coverage. Drop coverage, I hate drop coverage. Teams that play in drop coverage Just ask our Knicks host, Marshall Green, what he thinks about drop coverage. They ran it religiously against the Indiana Pacers and just play after play after play. It's the point guard coming off the screen and getting an open mid-range shot because you're playing drop.
Dude, how about this from
That's what
Aiden?
Embiid does.
Aiden, our guy Aiden. Just saw Nick Sirianni in the Bahamas.
What?
He just slacked me.
That's crazy. Sirianni enjoyed himself in the Bahamas, baby. And Aiden there. That's what a... Zachary, here's a good question. You take Edgecombe, so you let Grimes go, right? No, I don't think so, man. I know it's strange, but to me, you head into next year, your starting guards, in my opinion, are Maxey and Grimes, and then you have McCain and VJ off the bench to start.
Okay.
Now,
Quite the
things
second
can
unit there.
change.
Yeah.
And maybe you feel comfortable enough, depending on what happens with Oubre, with starting Grimes at the 3. I think that might be a bit of a stretch. But I do think you still bring back Grimes. Yes, Klingon, Zachary. That's Donovan Klingon for the Blazers. I don't get this pick at all, man. This makes no sense to me. I think this is the first real shocker of the draft. Both in terms of, like, they don't need this, and also he was supposed to be a second-round guy. Tied for the largest hand size at the NBA Combine, 10-inch hands. Just too early. Yeah, Japoy knows ball. Too early, man.
Japoy, you already know, man. Oh, man. Marshall just asked, is this a Ming Yao situation?
Oh, man. Dude, they're saying his name is Yang Hansen.
But Coop did say Yang Hansen is the American way to say it.
Oh. His birthday is tomorrow. There we go. Yeah, TGM Mike puts it how I would put it. Your point guards are Maxey and McCain. Your two guards are Grimes and VJ. Obviously, it's interchangeable. It doesn't have to be so strict, but that's how I would do it. How many minutes will VJ get? 10. Not a fan at all. I'm glad to have League Pass to watch other teams because watching Embiid last year was atrocious.
So
that's funny.
You gotta pay Grimes then, right?
Yeah, I think you pay Grimes. You had those 4 guards. And look, VJ will get more than 10 minutes. I think to start the season, 15 to 18 minutes a game to start, and then depending on what kind of impact he can make, if he really is that good of a defender right away, it's going to be hard to keep him off the floor, man. I mean, I could see him getting up into the 20s, 25 minutes a night.
Yeah, Japoy, man. What a reach.
Nah, just
all right. Let's stay live till pick 20. I want to see if the Heat go Michael Clayton.
Oh, Rolly's gonna have a crash out if they go Clayton.
Why doesn't he like him?
He thinks he's a small guard.
He is a small guard.
So he's honestly more pissed because Heat fans think he's like the next Steph Curry. He doesn't.
Okay.
I don't think he hates him so much as a player. He's just mad.
Like, he hates casuals.
Yeah, he's mad because Heat fans think he's gonna be like insane, and he's just a small guard who can't really defend and good shot maker. I think he could be a really good 6-man for what it's worth.
Yeah.
Grade C, too early for me from Japoy. Yeah, I'm giving this pick a D-, dude. There's no way.
Is Michael Clayton older too?
Clayton is, I believe he is older. I mean, if you really wanted to go center here, if you're Portland, which I already am against them going center, you have Donovan Klingon. There's still DeAndre Ayton on the roster. I mean, what are they doing? If you really wanted to go center, Maxime Reynaud, a player I like a lot, I think much better than Hanson Yang. I would have gone Ryan Kalkbrenner over Hanson Yang. I would have gone Johan Berenger over Hanson Yang. But let me chill. He could be good. Who knows?
Okay, Walter Clayton is 22. So
this is what I'm saying. This is the exact example
Johan Berenger
of a player that should have, like, Minnesota's probably laughing their heads off right now. Because if Portland's going to take a center, why wouldn't you take Berenger?
Yeah.
There was talk of him going to the Bulls at 12. You cannot tell me that. Yang's
did not
a better
play
prospect.
basketball until 2021.
Wow.
That's just
I didn't know
crazy
that.
to me. And now you become a first-round pick when you picked up the game of basketball 4 years ago? Slovenia National Championship in 2024, 2025?
Where does Rolly have him?
Just freakish athletic ability.
So I think he had. So he's not very high on Berenger either.
35 overall player. Versatile defender, length, lateral quickness to cover a couple of different positions. Has some soccer feet. Grew up playing soccer. Powerful player around the rim offensively. Has to add more to his frame. 7'4" wingspan. Doesn't have any shooting potential at all.
It's funny. I asked Seeps earlier before the
Gobert
draft
can help him,
started.
though.
I said, predict for me right now, final prediction, who are the Bulls going to take? He said this guy. He said Johan Berenger.
Okay.
And obviously that didn't end up being the case, but interesting. So they're saying a huge upside for Berenger. One of the youngest players in the draft. Yeah, still just 18 years old. We mentioned didn't touch a basketball until 2021. Explosive athlete, coordinated, good shot blocker, but very limited offensively. Yeah, you mentioned Chase, not a shooter at all. Rolly says likely would take at least 3 years to find himself in a position to impact winning in a playoff setting. For a team like Minnesota, I'm not so sure how that fits in, but
Yeah. You got the Gobert connection. They're both from France.
there you go. I guess pretty similar. Now, seems to be more of an explosive athlete than Gobert, but similar in terms of being excellent shot blockers and being very limited offensively. Any surprises that haven't been taken so far? Let's see who's left. I'm just curious here. Washington, Brooklyn, Miami coming up. Yeah, so Yakachonis is still here. Rolly was very high on Yakachonis. He's a guy that has kind of fallen, I've noticed, in recent weeks.
Yep.
A guard that the concerns I've heard, one, he turns the ball over too much. I think he averaged like 3.5 turnovers a game. And he's very predictable offensively. He loves to get to that step back. That's like the only offensive move he has. So he tends to be a bit predictable offensively. But Rolly has him number 6 overall coming in. Elite level playmaker. Only shot 31% from 3. A lot of point guards in this draft that did not shoot well from 3. Yegor Demon, Nolan Traore, Yakachonis. Did shoot 35.8% on step-back threes. But again, he went to that a lot. Very average athlete, so again, another guy who won't blow by people. Rolly had him as a top 10 guy, says better playmaking Spencer Dinwiddie.
Okay.
Interesting
comp.
Interesting comp. I'll tell you what, if he's there at 20, Rolly's probably going to be pounding the table for them to take him. But we got Washington, Brooklyn, Miami. Wizards will get McNeely replacing Jordan Poole. I wouldn't call that an exact, replacement, but McNeely's such an interesting player because he's another guy who a few weeks ago I would have said would have been a lottery pick, but McNeely is a shooter who didn't really produce as a shooter. Theoretically, like, he projects as this guy who comes into the NBA, kind of a Corey Kispert type, where he can shoot the heck out of the ball, but McNeely shot like 32% from three. And that was supposed to be the one thing he was good at, and he wasn't. But, certainly, for the Wizards, and funny enough, Corey Kispert on the roster, so.
Dude, Yang Hansen was sitting in the stands when he got drafted.
Oh, he didn't get a green room invite? That's funny.
Then I guess he had to walk his way down.
Hey, at least he was there. Maybe he knew. He knew he was going to get drafted. At least Yabusele is gone. Robbie, you're not a Yabu guy? Yabu was like the only consistent player outside of Maxey for the Sixers last year. I would love him back, but there's almost no way he's coming back. He's
going to get paid by somebody else. And the Sixers can't even afford to pay him that much money. One of those like dumb NBA rules.
It's unbelievable. The Sixers are the team that finds Yabusele from overseas. Now, obviously, he had the exposure from the Olympics, but they bring him over. They're the team that signs him. He breaks out for them, and they're rewarded by not being able to keep him.
Classic.
Yeah, boy, I love the Big Bear. The Dancing Bear, man. Fan favorite. Such a shame that his 1 year here was kind of wasted, because I think he would have made such a big impact on winning, but obviously the Sixers team was not a winning team, so. Oh, man.
Oh, that's a joke. Jake Fisher.
Crazy.
A Nugget source just texted me, Chinese Jokic. About Yang. That's absurd.
Oh, Rolly's singing praises right now. The Heat won't be selecting Walter Clayton because the Jazz are trading up with Washington at 18 and selecting Walter Clayton.
Oh, wow. So the Jazz going to come away with Ace Bailey and Walter Clayton. Interesting stuff.
Man, Clayton goes 18th, dude.
Wow.
That is nuts.
That's early. He doesn't know it yet. Walter Clayton doesn't know it yet.
He's got the it factor. That's for sure.
So Walter Clayton to the Jazz at 18. They trade with the Wizards. Walter Clayton became a college basketball legend this past year. Helped lift Florida to the national championship. In the NCAA tournament, hit big shot after big shot after big shot. His deep range and his movement and clutch gene, all reasons why he got some Steph Curry comps, but they are different players. He is an elite shooter. He can definitely find his spot with a variety of moves. Always cool, calm, and collected in the clutch. Showed it a lot while with the Gators. Definitely is not a strong defender. Doesn't have a lot of size. Sometimes he can cough it up, throw it away. But there's one thing that he can do at an elite level, and that is shoot the rock. 18 points per game last year, better in the tournament. He took nearly 8 3-pointers per game, and he connected on 39% of them. So that's a lot of volume right there and a lot of efficiency.
Interesting. So Obviously, they went Ace Bailey. They already have Keontae George. Now they go Walter Clayton.
Yep.
Roley compares him to Peyton Pritchard, which makes a lot of sense.
He's better than Peyton Pritchard. Better shooter than Peyton Pritchard. Similar size. Pritchard's also a better defender.
So long ago. Yeah, so here's Clayton to the Jazz. No, the Wizards do not select Walter Clayton Jr.
Yeah.
It's
Go
Utah.
to the Jazz. That's why you watch us. We got it right.
TGM, I like Danny Wolf at 35 if he's still there. If Danny Wolf's at 35, he's available, you're running that card up. There's no way he'll still be there.
Daryl Morey, by the way, said, I think we will have one of the best backcourts in the league on Maxey, Grimes, McCain, and Edgecombe.
I mean, they should. Shoot. It's 4 guys that could be starters on a lot of teams. So, I mean, I get it. You always want to have, good guards out there on the floor. Some different skill sets.
Yeah.
But spend the 3rd overall pick on that? I don't know. Hey, Robbie, I know Yabusele's stats like 11 and 5 doesn't jump off the page, but it's just so much more than the numbers.
He's a playoff type
Yabusele.
of player.
That's what I was saying. Like if the Sixers were winning games, I think it would have seen his impact even more. But it's tough because he's not a player that's going to win you games when you're bad. When you're in those big moments, like he's a winning player. There's some talk he's going to go to the Spurs. If he does, great for him. I'd hate it for the Sixers because he'd be good for San Antonio. So Brooklyn up again at 19 and Miami at 20.
Yep. I just want to see what the Heat do for Roley's reaction.
Hanson Yang, a clutch sports guy.
Oh, yeah?
No surprise, Rich Paul working his magic there.
Yeah.
Rich Paul, he always gets it done, man. Always gets it done. Bobby Marks saying Utah's the early winner.
For the good of his
What up,
client,
Dilly?
he always gets it done.
She's not here. I don't know. It was she MIA?
All right. Walter Clayton to Utah. I like what the Jazz are doing.
Yeah.
17 subscribers away from 22,500. Lock us in. Hit that sub button. LFG, let's go.
I could see a world where Walter Clayton is actually good.
Oh, I think that he can be good. With endless range like that and an ability to shoot, you'll at least be a scorer off the bench.
Has that it factor, man.
Yep.
Sometimes that's all it takes. He's got the aura, the kids would say.
The aura. So we have Brooklyn, Miami coming up 19-20. We'll sign off after Miami at 20.
If we can get to $100 in super chats, we're at 57. If we can get to $100 in super chats before we sign off, I'll end the stream with a shotgun. We're at $57, so we're $43 away.
How about it?
If we can get another $43 before we sign off, I'll end the stream with a shotgun. Normally it's 50. Someone sends in 40. Collectively gets us to 100 as a whole. Doesn't got to be one person. I'll end the stream with a shotgun. Celebratory shotgun for the hopeful success of VJ Edgecombe. Love him or hate him, you got to hope he succeeds and hope he made the right pick.
Pick is in for Brooklyn.
So this is Brooklyn's second pick of the first round. They had 6, or they had 8. They went with Yegor Demin. They have 19, 22, 26, and 27. Unbelievable. Justin Edwards, 6th man of the year from L Bet. Honestly, if Uber is not back, I wouldn't be mad if they started Justin Edwards. But probably better fitted off the bench.
Yeah.
Wow, if this is true, this is a shock for Brooklyn. Nolan Traore to the Nets. This is another point guard. Another playmaking point guard.
There are some bad teams doing some weird things, man.
I mean, they're not the same player, but they're kind of the same player. In Traore and in Yegor Demin. Now, Traore is a much better athlete. Much better athlete. But both of them, their calling cards is the playmaking. They're both great playmakers for others. They both can't shoot. What are they doing? They're drafting like it's 1956. No 3-point line.
Another Frenchman.
So interesting. So that's 2 guys now for the Nets who are playmaking guards who can't shoot.
Yep.
It's just strange to me.
That's why bad teams stay bad.
Again, the one difference is Traore is a really good athlete, where Demon's not. So he can actually get by guys. Now, Rolly says he has shooting upside, but shot 30% on catch and shoot threes, 22% on off dribble threes, and 28% on off dribble twos.
That is.
He took a ton
horrific.
of floaters, only made 33% of his floaters.
Good pick and roll guy. Good transition playmaker. Yeah, 41% from the field. 12 points per game. Definitely has that stop-start ability.
Interesting backcourt.
Yeah,
wow.
that is an interesting backcourt.
And I don't even hate the pick here. I think this is fine value for him, but just them being on the same team is just strange. But maybe they can figure it out. They'll have 2 young guys coming in as their backcourt of the future and hope that it works. Demin has the size, Traore has the athleticism, but neither of them can shoot the ball. Third French player selected. Traore comp to Elfrid Payton, and Demin is Josh Giddey. 2 guys in Giddey and Elfrid Payton that never developed a jump shot.
Yep.
That their best skill was always playmaking. Giddey just being the taller player. Man.
Again, I need guys to be able to shoot.
At least one of them. You're going to take two guys at the guard spot. Can one of them shoot? It's 2025, man. It's 2025. I mean, if I'm them, I would have taken Rasheer Fleming. I would have taken Nick Clifford.
Yeah.
Even Jokic Jonas. Not a whole lot outside of that.
So this is the Jimmy Butler pick from Golden State to Miami. This 20th overall selection.
Okay.
Of note, and we alluded to this a little bit earlier, but like Daryl Morey specifically mentioned Quentin Grimes while talking about the Sixers backcourt next year.
Yeah, it would be a shocker if he's not back.
Yeah. It's got to make it work. They have a lot of guards who can score. How are they going to divvy up the minutes?
Hopefully it's not an indictment on McCain's recovery.
Yes, that would be a concern. Meniscus, always worrisome.
But McCain did say not too long ago, just the other week, there was the chance he plays in Summer League. So
that would be electric.
I probably wouldn't play him.
McCain Edgecombe starting backcourt in Summer League. He doesn't need to play.
No, but they would win the Summer League title if you got McCain and Edgecombe out there, man. You kidding me? Throw Justin Edwards out there while you're at it. Why not?
Yeah.
Adem Bona. You got a loaded team.
That's actually a squad.
I'd be hyped for Summer League. I'm gonna call my shot. I think the Heat take Jokic Jonas here. They need a true point guard.
That
Tyler
would fit
Hero.
them.
Not a true point guard, Tyler Hero. So.
And then pair him with Nikola Jovic or whatever.
Yeah, they got Jovic. Still got Bam, obviously. Rasheer Fleming would be a good pick too, as that 3-and-D guy. Every team loves the 3-and-D. I feel like a lot of these 3-and-D guys don't end up working out because one aspect of it, the 3 or the D, doesn't end up developing. Pause.
The one that has worked out tremendously, Jalen Williams.
Yeah,
out of Santa Clara.
That's what everyone looks to.
He was
like
the ultimate 3-and-D guy coming out of the draft or coming into the draft.
It's what everyone hopes that they get, but it's hard to get to that level, man.
I'll bet Justin Edwards 6th man of the year. I like that prediction.
I already see at least 8 GMs that need to be fired.
Yeah, these bad teams are just making some really bad decisions, trades, picks.
Oh, here we go. Rolly's going to love this. I called the shot. It's Jokic Jonas, who Rolly had as his 6th best player.
Yeah. He is going to glaze him big time.
Oh, yeah. We're going to have to hear about this for the next 6 months.
All right. So we'll talk about that Heat pick, then we're going to sign off.
Perkins looks like he's falling asleep.
Yeah.
Colin Cowherd is the pick at 11 for the Grizzlies. I can't believe that.
Ridiculous.
Man, all right. Break down this Jokic Jonas pick before we get up out of here.
Yeah. So the Heat getting an intriguing player here in Jokic Jonas. Played for the Fighting Illini last year. Good year as a freshman. 19, 6'4" and 3/4, 205 pounds, 15 points per game, almost 6 boards, 44% from the floor. Excels in the pick and roll, finds creative ways to make plays for others. Screams Heat pick, really, with the value and how he can be utilized. Solid shooter on all 3 levels. He can create a little bit off the dribble. Sometimes he can make some dumb decisions and make mistakes. Eric Spoelstra can coach that out of him. And has a lot of shooting potential. Sometimes he'll have some ugly misses. Favorite NBA players for him, Luka Doncic and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's skilled. He has good footwork. And so Yakachunas to Miami. All right, we're going to sign off. We have some other things that we have to accomplish here. Thanks to everybody who tuned into round 1 of the 2025 NBA Draft. Chip and I will be back tomorrow because the Sixers do have pick number 35. The pick tonight at number 3, VJ Edgecombe. Heading to the Sixers. Daryl Morey is saying tonight that he thinks that Philadelphia can have one of the best backcourts in the NBA next year in 2025, 2026. So the start of the first round, chalk. And then really starting at, I think, pick number 4, started to see some interesting selections, some wild trades, some reaches as well. But in a draft where oftentimes 70% of the guys don't end up panning out, some teams are swinging. If you're just joining the show, we went in depth on the Sixers taking VJ Edgecombe. That video and YouTube short already up on the channel. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll catch you then. Thanks for supporting us. Thanks for watching, and have a good night. Peace.